Hollywood, starred as an agent. Hey! Look who's back for more adventures. We love having you here to continue this story that keeps us all awake. Important note, all of this is pure fiction. So don't try any techniques you hear here in real life, your neighbor might call the cops. This amazing novel and all its rights belong to the original author. We're just the ones giving it voice and drama. Are you enjoying the show? Prove it by subscribing to our YouTube channel and leaving that like that motivates us so much. And if you want VIP access to exclusive content, our Patreon is waiting with things you won't find anywhere else. Chapter 126 Unexpected. At the Savoy Hotel, Aaron took Catherine Zeta-Jones back to his room. In the bathroom, in the warm hot tub, Aaron hugged the sexy and beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones. When is Christopher Columbus, Discovering the New World coming out? Warner Brothers has it scheduled for August. Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned into Aaron's arms and kissed him. Why, Aaron, are you also keeping an eye on this movie? Aaron smiled. I ran into the great director Ridley Scott in France before, who is also directing a historical biopic about Columbus, 1492, The Conquest of Paradise. He mentioned it. After all, you both shot in Spain. One is a US-UK co-production, and the other is a US-France-Spain co-production. Yes, I heard the crew talk about the Ridley Scott one. Catherine, has anyone told you that you have a wild beauty? Aaron asked, rubbing his hand against the girl's cheek. Well, do you like it? Catherine Zeta-Jones tilted her neck and looked at Aaron. Do you think I can develop in Hollywood? Of course, but you don't have much experience now. If you go there, you will be a vase at best. Well, let's wait and see the results after Christopher Columbus, Discovering the New World is released. The ratings of the series Mayflower that I am starring in are still good. The second season has also been renewed, which is also for me to accumulate experience for my acting. Aaron thought. Catherine Zeta-Jones' most famous works should be The Future, The Mask of Zorro, and The Italian Job with Sean Connery. Don't worry, you are still young anyway, you can take it slowly first. Catherine Zeta-Jones now has too little acting experience. Catherine Zeta-Jones smiled. Aaron, can I be in your movie? My movie? It's very difficult. Really? How difficult is it? Catherine Zeta-Jones said, and then dove into the water. Aaron stayed with Catherine Zeta-Jones in London for another 3 days before returning home. At least it allowed her to show her face to the top executives of Polygram Films. Hollywood's awards season is naturally lively. With the announcement of the Golden Globe Award nominations, The Silence of the Lambs and Ghost have received many nominations. At a celebrity banquet at the Beverly Hills Hilton Hotel, Aaron and Kevin Costner clinked glasses. What have you been up to lately? JFK just came out, and I'm doing some promotional events. Also, I have a project with Warner Brothers, an action film called The Bodyguard. The Bodyguard, the one with Whitney Houston. Aaron had heard of it and remembered that it was a box office hit, largely due to Kevin Costner's current popularity. The Bodyguard was a film that Kevin Costner produced and starred in. Kevin Costner smiled. Yes, Aaron, it seems you've been keeping an eye on the new projects from the various studios. A moment later, a beaming Nicole Kidman approached Aaron, her excitement evident. The phenomenal box office success of Ghost had catapulted her to fame and earned her a Golden Globe nomination for Best Actress in a Musical or Comedy. Honey, Dawn got a lot of nominations this time. Nicole Kidman hugged Aaron's arm. The Silence of the Lambs and Ghost were competing against other films in the drama and musical comedy categories, respectively. Well, you've also gotten your first major acting nomination. Let's celebrate tonight. Ghost was nominated for Best Picture, Musical Comedy, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Supporting Actress. Which was impressive. However, Kevin Costner was even more impressive, not only receiving a Best Actor nomination for Ghost but also Best Actor in a Drama for JFK. Nicole Kidman agreed. Okay, all your business. Alright, go meet some people. You should be recognized by quite a few producers and directors by now. Aaron patted her arm. I'll call you when I leave. After Nicole Kidman left, Aaron ran into Al Pacino again. He felt relieved after it was confirmed that Scent of a Woman would begin filming after the Golden Globes. Yesterday, the gangster biopic Bugsy, starring Al Pacino, premiered and officially opened. Warren Beatty had originally wanted to star in the film, but TriStar was wary of the scandal-ridden actor and cast Al Pacino instead. Aaron, good evening, Demi Moore approached him, having just finished chatting with Al Pacino. Ghost is truly an unforgettable film, Aaron smiled. But it's a shame Disney is so impressive. They even nominated Beauty and the Beast for Best Picture, Musical Comedy, an animated feature nominated for Best Picture, Musical Comedy, at the Golden Globe Awards? The Foreign Correspondents Club's actions are truly baffling. Demi Moore raised her glass, clinked it with Aaron's, and took a sip. Do you think Beauty and the Beast is a serious competitor to Ghost? What else? That's a bit surprising. The Silence of the Lambs, a horror film, was nominated for Best Picture, Drama, and Beauty and the Beast, an animated film, was nominated for Best Picture, Musical Comedy. For many, this was surprising. By the way, is filming on Indecent Proposal going smoothly? Aaron inquired. Demi Moore nodded. We've been filming in Las Vegas lately, and things are going well, she smiled. I never thought we'd be working together so soon. They met last year, introduced by director Edward Zwick, while she was filming her production of Fatal Minds, a joke she'd made and has now come true. Well, it's mainly CAA's credit. Indecent Proposal is the package deal. Even if it weren't for Dawn Pictures, it would have gone to someone else. Aaron glanced at a middle-aged woman approaching. She was Sherry Lansing, a contracted film producer for Paramount. She was clearly interested in Indecent Proposal. She was eager to secure international distribution rights for Paramount. Chapter 127 Female Helmsman. Of course, Sugan was responsible for the North American distribution of Indecent Proposal. Aaron had reservations about Paramount's desire for international distribution. After all, Sugan currently had a close partnership with Sony, and its first choice was still Columbia TriStar International. Mr. Meyer, what do you think of Ms. Shirley Lansing's opinion? Aaron and CAA President Ronald Meyer went to the hotel balcony to inquire about her opinion on Indecent Proposal. After all, Indecent Proposal was a project that CAA had personally facilitated. Aaron, do you think it's a bit inappropriate for Shirley Lansing, a contracted producer for Paramount, to ask you about these things? Seeing the smile on Ronald Meyer's face, Aaron knew there was more to it. Recently, we helped Frank Marcuse, the former chairman of Paramount Pictures, recover $15 million in unpaid wages. Also, Francois Gill, the behind-the-scenes head of MGM United Artists, fired MGM chairman Alan Ladd Jr., and we recommended Frank Marcuse to MGM as chairman and Michael Marcus of CAA as president. Former Warner Brothers production chief John Culley is managing United Artists. So, who's the successor to the CEO of Paramount Pictures? Well, Shirley Lansing. Aaron would be a fool if he couldn't see it. Martin Davis also favors Shirley Lansing to run Paramount. Martin Davis, chairman and chief administrative officer of Gulf and Western Industries, renamed Paramount Communications. Ronald Meyer nodded. Martin Davis always does the unexpected. For example, who knows, making Sherry Lansing the first female head of a major Hollywood studio. That made sense. Sherry Lansing had worked with Paramount for years, and now she was suddenly managing its internal operations. This was a sign. MGM was also in shambles. Its backer, Crediglione, had begun a comprehensive overhaul of MGM Uni Arts. It looked like that Italian patron, Giancarlo Paretti, was in trouble. Aaron was surprised, but what did it have to do with him? The development of Dawn Pictures was what he should be focusing on right now. Let Columbia TriStar handle the international distribution of Indecent Proposal. After all, it's better to work with a familiar. Of course, Columbia TriStar was quite respectful and generous in many ways. Even Steven Spielberg, the renowned director who had promised to only work for Universal and Warner Brothers, could change his mind at any time. Ronald Meyer nodded. Actually, CAA would prefer that Suzuki only produce the films, leaving distribution entirely to the major film companies. Unfortunately, Aaron Anderson's ambitions were immense, and he had the skills to match them. By the way, Aaron, you're so busy right now? Do you need someone to run the company? Ronald Meyer suddenly inquired. Oh, any recommendations? John Peters, you know, he got fired by Sony. He has experience producing films like Batman. Oh, Aaron couldn't help but laugh. Ronald, Suzuki doesn't need a hairstylist to run the company. With me here, there won't be any problems. I'll choose someone later. John Peters? CAA is treating Suzuki like a garbage dump. Even if they were your clients, you can't joke with them like that. Christmas is just a week away, and Los Angeles is in full festive spirit. Christmas trees glitter in shops along the streets. Light festivals and fireworks displays in various areas are attracting huge crowds. That evening, after the Golden Globe nominees banquet, Aaron invited the cast of Ghost to a nearby bar for a Christmas bash. Kevin Costner, Kathy Bates, Edward Zwick, David Fincher, and others were in attendance. Aaron said, feeling Nicole Kidman's sweet kiss in his arms. Okay, I'm going to the bathroom. Nicole Kidman winked. Want me to come with you? Aaron smiled and whispered in Nicole Kidman's ear, yeah, wait till tonight, you'll be in for it. Then, Aaron got up and left. Hey, David, what's wrong with you? Are you upset? When Aaron returned from the bathroom, he saw David Fincher looking worried. Oh, Aaron, David Fincher smiled. Sit down. Aaron patted the other man's shoulder and sat down as well. Is it because of Alien 3? This year, David Fincher was appointed director of 20th Century Fox's blockbuster sequel, Alien 3. David Fincher was a new director, having only shot music videos and commercials, and his only credit was directing Phone Booth. But that certainly wasn't enough for Alien 3, and his say was minimal. News reports claiming that Alien 3 director David Fincher and producers David Giler and Walter Hill were at odds with each other were true. Has filming wrapped? David Fincher nodded. It just wrapped, but I've been excluded from the editing. Filming Alien 3 was probably the most difficult time of my life so far. David Giler and Walter Hill simply didn't listen to my opinions. Aaron was hard to comfort. After all, the Alien series was a heavyweight IP of 20th Century Fox, pioneered by Ridley Scott, and Alien 2 was further sublimated by James Cameron. For Alien 3, David Fincher was the backup among the backups, a firefighting director. Have a drink. If you have any ideas in the future, come to Shugwang. I know your ability, and you're the one who's in charge of your film. Aaron had always admired David Fincher's talent. He and Quentin Tarantino were both non-mainstream directors, and film companies should try to interfere as little as possible in their creations. Relatively speaking, Aaron definitely valued David Fincher more than Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino's circle is too niche, and his abilities too narrow. He can't compare to David Fincher's diversity and expertise. Thank you, David Fincher nodded. By the way, is Quentin directing his first feature film this year? Yes, it's called Reservoir Dogs, an unconventional crime thriller, Aaron said, and laughed. When it's released, Reservoir Dogs will be the first to be screened at the St. Denis Film Festival. I think it will definitely shock everyone. Chapter 128 They Don't Air. At Dawn Films, in the preview room, Aaron and the others were enjoying Reservoir Dogs. It had that flavor, the unique and distinctive postmodern style of its integration and creative use of violence, black humor, and humor, the chatterboxing, the effective use of dialogue, the stirring music, and the non-linear narrative. Quentin, your style is truly eye-opening, Aaron said, his lips curling up unconsciously. Aaron, do you like it? Quentin Tarantino couldn't help but ask. Of course. After the new year, Brad will take you and Lawrence to the Park City St. Denis Film Festival as soon as possible to screen Reservoir Dogs. We'll have it in theaters by the end of March. Lawrence Bender was a producer Quentin Tarantino knew, and they had a lot in common. That would be great, Quentin Tarantino agreed. Who wouldn't want their work to be released theatrically? Then, Aaron returned to his office. Jack Wells also came over. I'll introduce Salma Hayek to an agent I know at WMA, at least. She can get some commercials or magazine spots, or maybe some small TV roles, Aaron nodded. By the way, what's going on with Miramax? Aaron had previously lectured Harvey Weinstein. Nothing major has happened, and Harvey's still buying up studios everywhere, hoping for success. Oh, casting a wide net is the way to success? Miramax doesn't have the financial backing. Aaron knew that Miramax would be acquired by Disney when it was on the verge of bankruptcy. Disney's financial resources would be the foundation for his ambitions. Miramax and Disney could be said to have mutually benefited each other. Oh, there was another big thing in Los Angeles last month. I brought the newspaper. Aaron smiled. Are you talking about the Lakers star player, Irvin Johnson, retiring due to AIDS? Wasn't that the big news last month that Magic was infected with AIDS? Jack Wells smiled and shook his head. You are an important figure in Hollywood now. Why would I show you other sports news? Look. It's a memo from Disney executive Jeffrey Katzenberg. It was originally sent to Disney chairman Michael Eisner and other directors, but somehow, the content of this memo appeared in the Los Angeles Times. Aaron took it and took a look. It was Jeffrey Katzenberg reflecting on the failure of Disney's live-action movies Dick Tracy, The Rocketeer and Billy Bathgate. In particular, he also emphasized the comparison between Pretty Woman and Dick Tracy. Although Michael Eisner was not mentioned in every sentence, Every sentence was implying Michael Eisner. It seems the internal strife within Disney's leadership has become quite serious. Jeffrey Katzenberg is truly a tough nut to crack. Michael Eisner has the support of major Disney shareholder Sid Bass and family shareholder Roy Disney, and he has the final say on the board. Jeffrey Katzenberg, who oversees the film and television division, certainly has a thirst for power. The renewed success of Beauty and the Beast has given him even more confidence. I've heard there's a lot of tension within Disney right now, Jack Wells explained. Aaron waved his hand. Michael Eisner's achievements are far more than just a simple matter. He's multiplied Disney's consumer product market and increased Disney's brand's value by more than tenfold. Jeffrey Katzenberg is certainly capable of bringing Disney animation to prominence, but he's not strong enough to compete with Michael Eisner. For Disney, the top priority now is the Euro Disneyland, which is set to open on the outskirts of Paris next spring. Christmas should have been a festive and lively time, but a phone call had Aaron in a bad mood. On the set of Indecent Proposal in Las Vegas, a call arrived with some bad news. Don Steele, a producer at Dawn Pictures, informed Aaron that something had gone wrong with the filming of Indecent Proposal. Robert Redford was in terrible shape. Indecent Proposal was slated for a summer release, and after nearly 2 months of filming, with filming nearing its end, something had happened to Robert Redford. Aaron Anderson and Jack Wells hurriedly flew from Los Angeles to Las Vegas. There's definitely something wrong, Aaron understood the moment he laid eyes on Robert Redford. In Indecent Proposal, Robert Redford played a handsome, glamorous elderly tycoon. How else could he have attracted the young and sexy Demi Moore? Now, Robert Redford looked sluggish, with bags under his eyes. He was in terrible shape. Robert, how long has this been going on? Aaron looked at Don Steele. It's been a week, and neither director Adrian Lane nor producer Steven Soderbergh can solve it. Jack Wells frowned. Why notify Aaron now? Don Steele didn't say anything, but Aaron spoke. Robert Redford is a superstar. Neither Adrian Lane nor anyone else dares to do it. Indecent Proposal is a CAA project, and he is a CAA client. Don, you performed very well. If you continue to excel, I will let you be responsible for the Dawn Pictures project alone. With that, Aaron went straight to Steven Soderbergh's office. When Steven Soderbergh saw Aaron, he just sighed. Aaron, I have informed Mr. Ovitz that he will talk to Robert Redford in person. Steven, Indecent Proposal will be released in May next year, and there is not much time left. Dawn has already spent $25 million on filming. You should understand the meaning of $25 million. Steven Soderbergh was helpless. The main reason is that Robert Redford has been suffering from insomnia all night recently. He is a little overwhelmed physically and mentally. Aaron shook his head. Indecent Proposal has to be completed now. I don't want any other reasons. Not only must it be completed, but it must be completed on time. Aaron, Mr. Ovitz will be here tonight, and we will give you an answer then. Steven Soderbergh knew that Aaron would definitely look down on the insurance company's timed completion compensation. Dawn will distribute the film by itself this year, and the promotion work for Indecent Proposal has already started when filming started. Aaron took a deep breath and nodded. Ask for monthly ticket. I want to collect 100 points. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 129 The Last Incense Love. In Robert Redford's RV in Las Vegas, Michael Ovitz sat on the sofa, watching the man who had lost his former glory. Robert, can you tell me what exactly happened? Filming for Indecent Proposal was already well underway, and Dawn Pictures couldn't accept the fact that something was wrong at this point. Robert Redford was somewhat frustrated. I need sleeping pills to fall asleep at night, and I'm in such a bad mood every day. Michael Ovitz pondered for a moment. Let's take a vacation. Between Christmas and New Year's, I'll negotiate with the insurance company, and I'll also convince Aaron Anderson to suspend filming, Christmas Eve, at the Dream Hotel Ball in Las Vegas. Stop filming for a week on Indecent Proposal. Aaron looked at Michael Ovitz in surprise. The crew of Indecent Proposal had encountered this situation for a week, and no one had informed him. Fortunately, his own staff had withstood the pressure. The director, the producers, and almost the entire crew had to comply with Robert Redford's prerogatives. Aaron, you and I both know Robert is a crucial actor in this film. Giving him some time to recover will be in everyone's best interest. CAA will coordinate with the insurance company and the crew. Once Robert Redford returns from his leave, we'll rush filming and we'll definitely finish on time. If the film wasn't finished on time, the insurance company would suffer significant losses. With a completion guarantee in place, Michael Ovitz's most important task was to convince the insurance company. However, the delay in Indecent Proposal would also significantly impact Dawn's plans. CAA couldn't guarantee Aaron would encounter further cost overruns or subpar production results. Aaron stared at Michael Ovitz. Okay, I can pause filming and let Robert Redford take his leave. After the leave, all of last week's scenes need to be reshot. We'll also need to make up for the progress made during the leave. Michael Ovitz breathed a sigh of relief. His main concern now was preventing Robert Redford from leaving CAA and joining another agency. Now that Aaron Anderson had relented, things became more manageable. Don't worry, Aaron. Robert is a professional and veteran actor. He'll definitely adjust. Indecent Proposal will go smoothly, Michael Ovitz said, patting Aaron on the shoulder. Aaron Anderson nodded and left the party. Watching the young man depart, Michael Ovitz knew that the last bit of friendship between Aaron Anderson and CAA had run its course. The crew of Indecent Proposal was overflowing with CAA clients, making it difficult for Aaron Anderson, who always had a strong sense of control over his work, to maintain control. Furthermore, Aaron Anderson had always disliked the project packaging model and might never accept another CAA packaged project. Meanwhile, Aaron Anderson, with his rapid growth and momentum, was one of Hollywood's most talented young producers. Michael Ovitz shook his head. I don't know if this is right or wrong. Soon, on Christmas Day, the crew of Indecent Proposal received a notice that filming was suspended for a week. Los Angeles, Burbank, Dawn Pictures. You've done a great job. Once production on Indecent Proposal resumes, you'll be assisting with crew management on behalf of Dawn Pictures. If there are any major issues, just call me. You'll also be fully involved in the company's next film, Scent of a Woman. Dawn Steele, a 45-year-old woman, formerly of Columbia Pictures, joined Dawn along with Brad Gray, both in production. However, Dawn has its undisputed star, Aaron Anderson, who overshadows everyone else. Dawn Steele nodded. That's fine, but I'm still worried about Robert Redford returning from his leave and whether he'll be able to continue the role. Aaron frowned and remained silent for a moment. If the production wasn't going well, the sooner Robert Redford was replaced, the less damage would be done. But with 2/3 of the scenes for Indecent Proposal already filmed, replacing Robert Redford would be prohibitively expensive. Scent of a Woman was originally scheduled to officially begin filming at the end of January, and normally, Indecent Proposal would also be wrapping filming around that time. However, just in case, I'm going to put Scent of a Woman on hold. If Robert Redford is truly unable to do the part, then Al Pacino will replace him and reshoot his scenes. This would delay the Scent of a Woman project by at least 2 or 3 months. If Robert Redford recovers after his leave, everyone will be happy. Indecent Proposal can wrap filming as planned, and Scent of a Woman can start filming as planned. Dawn Steele was horrified. Reshooting Robert Redford's scenes would cost an extra $10 million. Dawn Films would undoubtedly foot the bill for this overrun, as Al Pacino was also a major CAA client. That afternoon, Jack Wells arrived at Aaron's office and noticed that he was clearly in a bad mood. Well, it's because of Indecent Proposal. Jack Wells spread his hands. For CAA's package projects, the entire crew is their people. For a superstar like Robert Redford, they will definitely cooperate with all their strength. For projects like this, the film companies say is definitely not as good as CAA's. Aaron smiled. With its customer-centric system, CAA's ambitions are indeed getting bigger and bigger, and Michael Ovitz seems to have been blinded. CAA is always the seller, and our film company is the buyer. Film projects have always been a buyer's market. The reason why a box is valuable is because there is a gem in it. Without the gem, the box is worthless. CAA can sell more than 20 package projects a year, but they have prepared at least hundreds of package projects to recommend. They cannot decide the choice of film companies. Jack Wells understood. It's like when we went to the Venice Pier to buy seafood. The ropes used to tie the seafood were also sold at a high price, but if those guys think that ropes can be sold at the price of seafood, they will be beaten. Aaron nodded. Yeah, almost. CAA has this kind of thinking now. They really think that the project is valuable only because of CAA. However, perhaps, Dawn will have to go to the bank for a loan again. Excluding the production budget of Scent of a Woman, Dawn has less than $10 million in cash. Chapter 130. Extravagant life. On Christmas Day 1991, Soviet President Mikhail Gorbachev announced his resignation, marking the official dissolution of the USSR. Russia inherited and took over all Soviet assets and diplomatic missions abroad, bringing an end to the four-decade Cold War between East and West and the end of the bipolar world. Meanwhile, the Soviet Union was plagued by food shortages, material scarcity, and a sluggish economy. Lying on the sofa in his Bel Air villa, Aaron watched the news on TV, shook his head, and then called Al Pacino. On New Year's Eve, a grand and lavish banquet was being held at a luxurious villa in Benedict Canyon, Beverly Hills, gathering a host of Hollywood celebrities. The owner of this $8 million villa was none other than Giancarlo Parodi, who had frequently hosted celebrity parties since acquiring MGM. Aaron, holding Nicole Kidman's hand, greeted some acquaintances and exclaimed, "This is my first time dealing with this guy." On her days off from filming Sleepless in Seattle, Nicole Kidman often attended promotional events for Ghost. Columbia had been very attentive in promoting the film, especially around the time of its upcoming video release. "I've heard a lot about this Mr. Giancarlo Parodi. He's really doing a great job in Hollywood, but he's completely indifferent to MGM's film business." Aaron simply smiled at Nicole Kidman's words. What did this guy know about movies? He was just a pawn of those Italian financial groups. Now, Credileone has sensed danger and is sending people to restructure MGM. Aaron looked around. The attendees included film studio executives, Hollywood stars, and fashion models. It was quite a spectacle. Stars like Sean Connery, Robert De Niro, Barbara Streisand, and Sylvester Stallone, Warner Bros.' Terry Semel, 20th Century Fox's Joe Roth, Samuel Gwynn Jr., and Carlox Mario Casar. Nicole Kidman smiled. "Should I have come? There are so many sexy women here. Okay, someone's looking for me. I'll be gone for a minute." Not long after, Giancarlo Parodi made a point of finding Aaron. Giancarlo Parodi, an unremarkable Italian in his 40s, had risen from a lobby manager at London's Savoy Hotel to a major investor in Hollywood. He had plunged headfirst into the glitz and glamour of Hollywood. "Nice to meet you, Aaron," Giancarlo Parodi beamed. Since arriving in Hollywood, Mr. Parodi has really revitalized the city, with control over two major film studios, MGM and Pathé. Giancarlo Parodi was always surrounded by a group of filmmakers. "Aaron, come with me," Giancarlo Parodi said, pulling him to the poolside, where a group of sexy bikini-clad women gathered. Blondes, brunettes, redheads, and a dazzling array of bikinis were a sight to behold. "So, how was this New Year's Eve party?" Aaron remained calm. "You're testing me with this. Well, it's pretty good. It seems Mr. Parodi has adapted well to Hollywood. Aaron, you're one of the most dazzling filmmakers in Hollywood now. Have you ever thought about working with MGM?" After spending some time at Giancarlo Parodi's party, Aaron and Nicole Kidman headed to Universal Studios Hollywood's New Year's Eve celebration. There were spectacular fireworks displays, various bands, and a huge crowd. "What are you thinking about?" Nicole Kidman, sitting in Aaron's arms at the bar, noticed he was distracted. "Oh, nothing much. I'm just going to Las Vegas tomorrow to see how Robert Redford is doing on his recovery." Aaron asked casually, but he was actually thinking about something else, MGM. During his conversation with Giancarlo Parodi, Aaron had a feeling something was about to happen. This guy thought he was young and was trying to lure him into working with him through the glamour of Hollywood? Crazy. Not to mention MGM's precarious situation, just Giancarlo Parodi himself, everyone knew he was a white glove. Credileone was now making drastic changes to MGM. They must have run into problems. Who would choose to work with him at this time? Nicole Kidman kissed the man. Indecent proposal. "What if Robert Redford hasn't recovered yet? What are you going to do? Are you really going to replace him?" "I've already talked to Al Pacino before. He will come to the rescue." Moreover, Aaron also gave him a guarantee that Scent of a Woman will do its best to help him compete for the Oscar for Best Actor. "Let's go to Las Vegas and see Robert Redford's filming first." Aaron glanced at Nicole Kidman in his arms. "Okay, next, you're going to Pennsylvania and New York to shoot Sleepless in Seattle. No problems on set, right?" Nicole Kidman shook her head, a teasing look on her beautiful face. "What kind of problems do you think we'll encounter? Could anyone dare to take advantage of me? After all, I'm Aaron Anderson's woman now." Nicole Kidman's salary for Ghost was only $150,000, but for Sleepless in Seattle, it increased to $2 million, A tenfold increase, a testament to her fame. Even so, in the eyes of many, Nicole Kidman is still just a toy to be played with at any time. Aaron quickly checked Nicole Kidman into a hotel at Universal Studios to spend a wonderful New Year's Eve together. Aaron groaned. Nicole Kidman, dripping with sweat, emerged from the covers and laid on the man's chest. The Palisade Villa is finished, so I'll be living there from now on, right? Aaron smiled and stroked the woman on him. Don't you like it there? It's much better than that ordinary apartment in West Hollywood. Of course I don't like it, Nicole Kidman said, looking up at Aaron, a feeling she couldn't quite put into words. When are you planning on getting married? Get married? Aaron was stunned. We're still young. Isn't it too early to get married? Nicole Kidman blinked. They were indeed young, but that was certainly no excuse. She knew a little about Aaron Anderson's romantic ways. After sleeping together for so long, she understood him. Then, Aaron Anderson patted the woman in his arms. Okay, stop thinking about it. Go to sleep. Chapter 131 makes you more excited. After the new year, Aaron immediately went to the Las Vegas set of Indecent Proposal. Thankfully, Robert Redford was in good shape. Indecent Proposal could film smoothly. Dawn, keep an eye on the dailies and let me know if you find any issues. Of course, Aaron couldn't stay on set for long, so Dawn still had to shoulder the responsibility. Don't worry, I understand. Aaron stayed in Las Vegas for a few days, confirming Robert Redford's condition before finally feeling relieved. Meanwhile, Steven Spielberg was filming Schindler's List smoothly in Krakow, Poland. Because it was winter break for American universities, Aaron had specially invited Jennifer Connelly to Las Vegas as well. That evening, at the Sands Casino Hotel on the Las Vegas Strip, Aaron and Jennifer Connelly played poker in the casino lobby. Is Stanford's winter break only 20-something days? Yes, mid-December to early January. I'll be back soon. Jennifer Connelly had been spending time with her family in New York recently and hadn't even returned to Los Angeles. Well, what a pity. Aaron kissed the girl on the cheek. By the way, The Silence of the Lambs and Ghost have received quite a few nominations. Are you confident about the upcoming Golden Globe Awards? Aaron shook his head. Let others worry about that sort of thing. After all, it's not one's own distribution company. I don't really care whether it wins or not. The main thing is, Aaron isn't pursuing an artistic career. The commercial appeal of a film is what matters most. I'm graduating next year, and then I can devote myself to my acting career. Aaron nodded. Over the summer, I'll be developing Speed, which will be released next year, perfect for your graduation celebration. Come on, that's boring. Let's go have a drink, Aaron said, putting away his chips and walking to the bar next door with Jennifer Connelly in his arms. Oh, Aaron, look, isn't it Michael Jordan? Suddenly, Jennifer Connelly pointed to a black man playing cards and smoking a cigar at a nearby gambling table. Aaron took one look and said, that's him. He led the Chicago Bulls to the NBA championship last season. He's doing well this season too. Is he here on the West Coast to play and trying his luck in Las Vegas? He'd heard it all along. Michael Jordan was a womanizer and a heavy gambler, and it was absolutely true. After a casual glance, Aaron took the girl into the adjacent bar. Jennifer Connelly, sipping a cocktail and enjoying some metal music, looked at Aaron and said, the Las Vegas Tech Expo is happening right here at the nearby Sands Expo Center. Why don't we go? Tech Expo? Aaron thought for a moment and nodded. He could see what new gadgets were coming out. The next day at noon, Aaron, who had been stalking Jennifer Connelly for most of the night, finally appeared at the Sands Expo Center with a girl. Initially uninterested, Aaron stopped by a promotional event, a roadshow for an internet tech company going public. America Online. Aaron was surprised. They were about to go public. Aaron then took Jennifer Connelly to pick up an AOL brochure and sat down on 2 chairs. Are you a customer of this company too? Jennifer Connelly smiled. Aaron shook his head and looked at her. Do you know this company? Yes, it's a small company specializing in online computer services. It just changed its name to AOL last year. It was previously called Quantum Computer. Unlike other tech companies that focus on technology research and development or electronic sales, this company is primarily focused on consumer online services. It's a small company with a small customer base. I didn't expect it to go public. Jennifer Connelly was skeptical. Would so many people buy its stock? Good about going public. Aaron shook Jennifer Connelly's hand. I want to buy AOL stock as an investment. You're my lucky lady. I was so lucky to come to the expo with you. Aaron was no doubt familiar with the fame of AOL, it wasn't previously known by that name. In the future, with the tech bubble, selling AOL during its acquisition of Time Warner would undoubtedly generate a massive amount of capital. Jennifer Connelly simply smiled, but still warned, investing in stocks is fine, but don't go too far, it's easy to lose money, don't worry, the Microsoft stock I bought last year has already gone up. Aaron had invested over $50 million in Microsoft stock, and that stock was now worth over $57 million. That night, in a room at the Sands Hotel, Aaron pressed himself against Jennifer Connelly, wantonly enjoying her 34D breasts. Honey, Jennifer Connelly, sensing the man's arousal, rolled over and actively lay on top of Aaron. Well, what do you want to do now? Aaron caressed the voluptuous figure. Jennifer Connelly smiled and whispered into Aaron's ear, of course, to make you even more excited. Then, she initiated a kiss with the man beneath her. Soon, Jennifer Connelly slid completely under the covers. Aaron breathed a deep breath, gazing at the ceiling. He pondered the situation. AOL's roadshow today, with the IPO price around $10 per share, would likely be around 2 million shares. The official IPO results were still unknown, but they weren't expected to be far off. Aaron would have to arrange for an investment broker to help him acquire AOL shares. After Jennifer Connelly returned to school, Aaron returned to Los Angeles and immediately transferred $3 million to Cheyenne A Fund to acquire AOL shares. Afterward, Aaron made a special appointment to meet with Al Pacino at the Charlie Hotel in West Hollywood. Aaron smiled, took a sip of his coffee, and said, "There's no problem over there. Scent of a Woman can start filming on time." Al Pacino, sitting across from him, nodded. "I was a little worried I wouldn't be able to handle it. I'm glad Robert's okay." "Yes, otherwise, I'll have to postpone Scent of a Woman and invite you to join the cast of Indecent Proposal." This was Aaron's last resort, and he wouldn't do it unless it was absolutely necessary. Newcomer Matt Damon was starring opposite Al Pacino in Scent of a Woman, and after a few rehearsals, the performance was looking good. Now, all we had to do was wait for Scent of a Woman to start filming in New York. Chapter 132. A Mole on the Chest. Park City, Utah, home of the St. Denis Independent Film Festival, boasts a blizzard of ice and snow, yet the passion for cinema is undeniable. In a hotel bedroom, Sophie Marceau rested in Aaron's arms. "I heard the St. Denis Film Festival is pretty famous these days, right? Have you heard about it in France, too?" Aaron smiled, stroking her long brown hair. "Yeah, I know that Sex, Lies, and Videotape was a huge hit at the Cannes Film Festival. It was the St. Denis Independent Film Festival in the United States that catapulted young director Steven Soderbergh to fame." For Sophie Marceau, this kind of independent art film festival is far more appealing than commercial films. Steven Soderbergh, he was a client of mine before. I helped him sell Sex, Lies, and Videotape for a high price. He brought his second feature film, Kafka, a French drama, Aaron said, shaking his head. Steven Soderbergh's work after Sex, Lies, and Videotape was a huge disappointment. Although Dawn had its own distribution network, Aaron didn't want to cast a wide net. There was no point in spending money on some crude, shoddy film. Unfortunately, Steven Soderbergh's Kafka didn't make any splash at the St. Denis Film Festival. Compared to Dawn's Reservoir Dogs, the difference was stark. This absurd, funny, violent, and gory film garnered enormous attention from its premiere at the St. Denis Film Festival. Quentin Tarantino's debut film, Reservoir Dogs, was definitely the star attraction at this year's St. Denis Film Festival. Sophie Marceau propped up her head, revealing her plump and round body, and smiled slightly. "You've been here for 2 or 3 days, and you don't seem to have bought a single movie. You didn't come here just to see the response to Reservoir Dogs, did you?" The current St. Denis Film Festival attracts independent distributors such as Dawn, New Line, Miramax, Orion, and Samuel Goldwyn. The 6 major Hollywood studios still have a somewhat condescending attitude towards independent film festivals. "You can't force this kind of thing." Aaron reached out and touched a mole on the girl's chest. "In My Nights Are More Beautiful Than Your Days," directed by Sophie Marceau's ex-boyfriend Andrei Zulawski in 1989, she let her fully express herself. The large-scale sex scene and this mole really left a deep impression on the audience. "Aaron, what's wrong?" Sophie Marceau hugged the man's neck. "Yeah, nothing." Aaron kissed him. Quentin Tarantino, the director of Reservoir Dogs, previously sold a script to director Tony Scott, Tony Scott is planning to film that script, called Fatal Romance, and I recommended you for the female lead. Over the past 2 years, Tony Scott's consecutive action films, including Revenge, Days of Thunder, and The Commander, have failed miserably, making it difficult for film studios to trust him. After all, Revenge starred Kevin Costner, Days of Thunder starred Tom Cruise, and The Commander, which just released late last year, also starred Bruce Willis. With so many commercially successful action films failing, it makes sense that Tony Scott would now develop Fatal Romance. Sophie Marceau inquired, "What about my French accent?" "It's okay, it's a minor issue. Besides, Fatal Romance is a thriller. Quentin Tarantino scripts are truly groundbreaking." That night, Aaron Anderson and Sophie Marceau attended a Park City movie party. Sure enough, there are a lot of new directors, Aaron said, now a prominent Hollywood producer, so of course he'd be getting attention. New directors and actors, in particular, were eager to catch his eye. Sophie Marceau, standing by, half smiled, "How about I give you 2 days to appease a few beautiful souls, PFFT." Aaron nearly spat out his drink. "Do you really think I'm so easy?" A short while later, Aaron ran into veteran director Robert Altman, who was showcasing his new film, The Player. Invested and distributed by New Line, The Player stars Tim Robbins. "Hasn't The Shawshank Redemption started yet?" Aaron muttered to himself. It wasn't that he was interested in the film, but rather that Ron held the rights to Forrest Gump. The sight of Tim Robbins had him thinking of The Shawshank Redemption. "Aaron, Quentin and the others are here," Sophie Marceau reminded Aaron. "Oh, that's great. Why don't you ask him if Tony Scott asked him to revise the script?" Soon, Quentin Tarantino and Brad Gray arrived. Fatal Romance, director Scott asked another screenwriter for revisions. Quentin Tarantino shook his head. He'd sold the original script himself, but now he'd hired someone else to revise it. "Okay," Aaron asked casually. "Reservoir Dogs has been getting quite a good response here, though it might not have made much of an impact outside, but after all, it's made you a splash in the film world and amassed a following. You'll be looking forward to your next work." Quentin Tarantino nodded. Even the St. Denis Film Festival wasn't well known to most people these days, let alone the films it screened. Reservoir Dogs, with its distinct style, had indeed attracted some celebrities to its ranks. Taking advantage of the St. Denis Film Festival's influence, Don will arrange for Reservoir Dogs to be released in theaters, Brad Gray spoke up. After all, Reservoir Dogs is similar to the previously released Chinese film Raise the Red Lantern. Dawn won't have many theaters, nor will it invest much in publicity. Okay, alright. These few days of film festivals are the perfect promotional tool. Reservoir Dogs actually has a simple plot, crude scenery, few stars, and a new director. Its non-linear narrative style is inherently niche. Of all the Quentin Tarantino films, Aaron has always been obsessed with Pulp Fiction. After leaving the party, Sophie Marceau wrapped herself in her coat. The Golden Globe Awards are probably about to take place. "Are you going back to Los Angeles?" Aaron shook his head. "Not back to Los Angeles, but straight to New York. I need to apply for some loans on Wall Street. Besides, Dawn's other film, Scent of a Woman, is about to start filming, then come back to New York with me." Sophie Marceau agreed. Hey, there's someone I know." Aaron suddenly saw Harvey Weinstein, who was about to enter the hotel. Chapter 133 It's more suitable to cooperate with you. Aaron and Sophie Marceau spent a few days at the St. Denis Film Festival before heading straight back to New York. As a platform for independent films, the St. Denis Film Festival, with its vast selection of films, rarely caught Aaron's eye. Compared to other independent distributors, Dawn's business is heavily weighted towards production, while others primarily focus on distribution. Buying finished films for distribution, rather than financing production themselves, yields limited revenue. But Dawn, on the other hand, was different. It was built directly on production. In their East Hampton, Long Island villa, Aaron sat on the sofa, talking on the phone with Jessica Parker. Sleepless in Seattle, Indecent Proposal, Schindler's List, these films can all be used as collateral for bank loans. Jessica Parker was the company's financial officer, so she had experience with these matters. After all, after Aaron had transferred another $3 million to his agent to buy shares in AOL, Dawn's liquidity was down to $5 million after deducting fixed expenses. "I understand. After all, Dawn had a loan repayment coming up soon, and $5 million wasn't enough." The copyrights to these 3 films could be used as collateral for a loan of at least $50 million. Sleepless in Seattle alone has garnered significant attention, and banks and investment institutions are willing to pay. Last year's Ghost had everyone freaked out. After hanging up the phone, Aaron leaned back on the sofa and rubbed his forehead. He still had 600,000 shares of Microsoft stock, ready to use as collateral. Releasing Indecent Proposal and Scent of a Woman would require cash investment, and he would also be developing new films like Speed, with the Golden Globe Awards taking place in Los Angeles. Kathy Bates won Best Supporting Actress for her role in Ghost, and Jodie Foster won Best Actress in a Drama Series for The Silence of the Lambs. However, Aaron's focus on the Golden Globes remained low. After all, filming on another project, Scent of a Woman, had officially begun. At the launch party for Scent of a Woman at the Pierre Hotel in New York, Aaron unexpectedly ran into Mike Medver, the head of TriStar Pictures. TriStar Pictures was distributing Sleepless in Seattle, and it was TriStar Pictures that had sold the script to Dawn Pictures. The two sides had already agreed that TriStar Pictures would receive a 12% commission on box office revenue. Mr. Medver, welcome. Aaron hadn't expected him to come. Mike Medver smiled. Congratulations, you've started shooting on another film. Aaron shook his head. TriStar Pictures' release of Terminator 2, Judgment Day last year grossed $510 million worldwide and over $200 million in North America. Oh, but Ghost surpassed Terminator 2, Judgment Day with $220 million in North America. It also grossed $500 million worldwide. Aaron's mouth twitched. Wasn't Columbia Pictures the distributor for Ghost? And it's all Sony. Mike Medver sighed. Terminator 2, Judgment Day and Ghost were financed and produced by Carlock and Suzuki, respectively. Sony did make money from the distribution, but it didn't participate in the investment, which was a bit disappointing. However, Mike Medver was content. This year, Suzuki's Sleepless in Seattle and Carlock's Basic Instincts were released, and he hoped for further success. I came to you. The lead actor wants to work with you on a movie about Zorro. John Macaulay's novel Zorro created the masked hero Zorro who robs the rich and helps the poor. A movie about Zorro? Aaron frowned. Do you have a script? Mike Medver shook his head. It's just an idea. I want you to develop it. Suzuki and Samsung will produce it together. Suzuki Pictures will handle North American distribution, and Samsung Pictures will handle international distribution. Aaron glanced at him. Could this be a precursor to the future The Mask of Zorro? Well, you don't have to reply so quickly. It's just an idea, after all. I was originally planning to ask Spielberg Zamblin to develop it, but I feel like you'd be more suitable. Aaron nodded. Okay, let me think about the script first. Anyway, last year, Aaron met Catherine Zeta-Jones in London and immediately thought of The Mask of Zorro. Now, Aaron can indeed start developing it earlier. Mike Medver's collaboration with Aaron Anderson was also motivated by his own interests. For films like Ghost, Terminator 2, Judgment Day, and this year's Basic Instincts and Sleepless in Seattle, Sony only distributed them. Suzuki and Carlock financed the films themselves, so Sony's investment was minimal. Meanwhile, last year's collaboration with Spielberg on Hook cost Samsung $70 million to produce, and the filmmakers also shared 40% of the film's profits, making the investment-to-output ratio uneconomical. Hook, released late last year, has grossed $90 million in North America and has only moderately good reviews. While Hook was projected to ultimately be profitable, TriStar Pictures' investment in production and promotion was substantial, and the resulting revenue was far less than what the filmmakers had earned. After Mike Medver left, Aaron didn't care why he was approached, but he was genuinely interested in the Zorro project. With TriStar Pictures backing him up, Aaron didn't have to worry about running out of funds. Aaron took a sip of wine and called his assistant Esther Beckett. By the way, go inform Winona Ryder from the crew of Dracula. The scenes of Scent of a Woman will be filmed first in Manhattan, New York, and the tango scene between her and Al Pacino will be filmed next month. Let her get ready first. Esther Beckett nodded to show that she understood. It seems that the crew of Dracula is filming in France now and will return to the UK at the end of the month. Is there any problem with the crew of Spielberg's Schindler's List? Aaron asked again. Nothing has changed. The total budget of the film has increased to $22 million, which is enough for Spielberg to complete the film. Besides, Spielberg is now preparing for Universal's blockbuster Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List will not be postponed. After all, One is the black and white art film Schindler's List that no one is optimistic about, and the other is the blockbuster Jurassic Park adapted from the best-selling science fiction novel that everyone is looking forward to. Chapter 134, Should I Give Up the Heroine? In the Chelsea neighborhood west of Midtown Manhattan, at Suzuki's New York City offices, Aaron was preparing to advance development on The Mask of Zorro. Because it was about a new generation of Zorro, Aaron spent a week putting together an outline before hiring someone to adapt the script. Meanwhile, after helping Suzuki secure a $50 million mortgage, Jessica Parker suddenly shared some good news with Aaron. Are you saying Merrill Lynch is willing to provide me with a $150 million revolving credit line? Aaron leaned back in his chair and looked at Jessica Parker. The CFO Jessica Parker nodded. Yes, Merrill Lynch has great confidence in Suzuki, and primarily in you, boss. This $150 million line of credit will allow Suzuki to develop multiple projects simultaneously. Aaron smiled. That gives Suzuki an extra $200 million in cash. Merrill Lynch expressed their confidence in Suzuki's future, and the collateral was the films Aaron was developing. Great. Indecent Proposal is almost finished filming, so we can promote it. Soo Kwon will distribute Indecent Proposal itself, and unlike Reservoir Dogs, it requires significant marketing investment. Next up, Speed and The Mask of Zorro are ready for development. After Jessica Parker left, Aaron instructed his assistant, Estherine Beckett, have Dawn take the Speed script to talk to directors Renny Harlin and John McTiernan. John McTiernan had directed action films like Die Hard and The Hunt for Red October, while Renny Harlin had just directed the highly acclaimed Die Hard 2. Okay, I see. Winona Ryder is coming to New York next week to guest star on Scent of a Woman. She can only stay on set for a week at most. 1 week? That's plenty. Aaron was, after all, one of the producers of Dracula, and was well informed about the filming schedule. On the set of Scent of a Woman at the Waldorf Astoria Hilton in New York City, Al Pacino, Matt Damon, and guest star Winona Ryder gathered. Dressed in a black halter-neck, backless dress, Winona Ryder, looking fresh and refined, immediately captured everyone's attention. Boss, the bank funds are in place, but the new project Speed is not going well. Director Renny Harlin is preparing to shoot Carlock's new film Clark, starring Sylvester Stallone, and director John McTiernan is also preparing a fantasy action blockbuster The Phantom starring Arnold Schwarzenegger. On the set, Esther Beckett reported to Aaron in a low voice. It was obvious that these action film directors were busy with their own projects. Clark and The Phantom were both blockbusters, surely not comparable to the $30 million budget of Speed. Production department, do you have any backup candidates? Aaron frowned. Director John McTiernan has recommended Jan de Bont, a cinematographer he's worked with many times, to direct this film. The crew is in contact with Jan de Bont. Aaron nodded. If Jan de Bont can come up with a suitable plan, Speed could be his. Aaron has always been bold in hiring new directors. Then, Aaron flipped through a script he was holding, The Pain of Reality, recommended to him by Winona Ryder. This story follows a group of Gen X college graduates facing life's challenges in the city, including work, society, and love. At night, in Aaron's hotel room, Winona Ryder rang the doorbell, holding a bottle of red wine. So interested, Aaron accepted the glass and took a sip. Why, don't you want me to come over? Winona Ryder glanced at Aaron. Weren't you the one flirting in the dressing room during the day? Aaron smiled and put out his hand to stroke the girl's thigh. In a few days, I will also go with you to the set of Dracula in London, England. After all, the filming will be wrapped next month. Winona Ryder asked about another thing. What do you think of the script I gave you? The script was prepared 2 years ago, and I couldn't find an investor. At the end of last year, my agent showed it to me and I liked it very much. I am ready to join. The Pain of Reality is an art film, and the director is also a newcomer, Ben Stiller. If there are no big-name stars joining, of course no investment will be attracted. Winona Ryder chose to join, and the producer could use her fame to seek financing. Winona Ryder was too lazy to waste time and directly gave it to Aaron Anderson, with whom she had a relationship. It's very artistic and well filmed. It's an excellent film, Aaron said, pulling the woman into his arms. Feeling the man's heat, Winona Ryder closed her eyes. The budget for The Pain of Reality is over $10 million. Is that okay? With you in the lead role, it shouldn't be hard to recoup. You seem quite interested in art films. Last year, Winona Ryder even had a cameo in Jim Jarmusch's art drama Earth at Night. Furthermore, The Pain of Reality is a perfect fit for Jennifer Connelly, given the cast of young college graduates. So, Don will invest, not a problem, but I hope The Pain of Reality can be released next spring, Aaron said, carrying the woman into the bedroom. Ben Stiller was also a comedian, Aaron remembered fondly. With early investment, it shouldn't be a problem. The crew will be ready soon. Once 400 Years of Dracula is finished, I can start filming The Pain of Reality, Winona Ryder responded as she undressed with a man. Aaron looked at the woman beneath him. I don't have much time to focus on this project. Are you interested in becoming a producer? Winona Ryder nodded. As long as you finance the production, everything else is fine. Okay, then I'd like to have Jennifer Connelly join the cast for a role, and also, a young actor from Saturday Night Live, Adam Sandler. Aaron was eager to see what kind of sparks Ben Stiller and Adam Sandler could create. Jennifer Connelly, Winona Ryder put her arm around the man's neck and jokingly said, "Do you want me to give her the lead role?" Ugh. Aaron covered the woman's lips and pulled the blanket over them both. Chapter 135 Genre Film Label. Winona Ryder finished all her scenes for Scent of a Woman in just 3 days of filming at the Waldorf Astoria. Meanwhile, Sleepless in Seattle wrapped filming after completing its final scene on the Empire State Building's observatory. It was nighttime in the penthouse bedroom of a 4-story duplex apartment on the Hudson River near the High Line in Manhattan's West Village. Winona Ryder lay in Aaron's arms, stroking the man's chest with her fingers. This place is not where you go to date women, right? Aaron looked at the night view of the Hudson River outside the round floor-to-ceiling window. What date? This place is just a few blocks away from Dawn's New York office. I thought it was good at the time, so I bought it as well. You can see, they're all old buildings, and the prices are not expensive. Real estate is worth investing in now. Winona Ryder got out of bed with a blanket wrapped around her and took a sip of water. The Oscar nominations are being announced tonight at the Samuel Goldwyn Theater in Los Angeles. Don't you care at all? Aaron picked up a cigarette beside him, lit it, took a puff, and smiled. Anyway, The Silence of the Lambs and Ghost will get a lot of nominations. Whether they can win or not depends on God. At least, the judges of the current Oscar awards ceremony are very subjective, and Harvey Weinstein's viral public relations in the future has not yet appeared. Winona Ryder glanced at Aaron. I'm going to the London set tomorrow. When are you going? Maybe in 2 or 3 days. The crews of The Silence of the Lambs and Ghost are also going to London for the BAFTAs. Aaron was going along, too. He'd be joining the crew of Dracula's Dracula, The End of the World, where they'd be discussing post-production, marketing plans, and everything else. Really? You're going to the BAFTAs too? Winona Ryder smiled. Edward Scissorhands is nominated for several technical awards, so I'll be there too. After all, neither Tim Burton nor Johnny Depp would be there, only she, who was filming in London, would be there. It's mainly because The Silence of the Lambs was nominated for so many awards, Aaron said. He didn't even care about the Oscars, let alone the BAFTAs. The lead actors, actresses, and director of Ghost wouldn't be in London either. After all, there was only one acting award up for Best Supporting Actress, and the others were in technical categories. However, Aaron planned to establish a branch of Dawn in the UK as a gateway to Europe. With the announcement of the nominations for the 64th Academy Awards, JFK, The Silence of the Lambs, Bugsy, Ghost, and Beauty and the Beast were nominated for Best Picture. Disney's Beauty and the Beast, after winning the Golden Globe for Best Picture Musical or Comedy, became the first animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture. Don's Boys and the Hood was nominated for Best Director, making its director, John Singleton, the first African-American to be nominated for the Academy Award. As the Oscar nominations were announced, Hollywood was in turmoil again. 20th Century Fox chairman Barry Diller officially resigned from News Corporation with a $120 million severance package. Meanwhile, Time Warner Chief Operating Officer Gerard Levine, while co-CEO N.J. Nicholas was away on vacation, convened a board meeting and ousted him from Time Warner. In his office in Manhattan's West Village, Aaron was stunned by the newspaper. Gerald Levine, after all, was part of the Time Incorporated family, along with N.J. Nicholas. This was a blatant backstab. Time Warner's power now rested entirely with the other powerful CEO, Steve Ross, who had been recuperating from prostate cancer since last year. Both Gerald Levine and N.J. Nicholas knew Steve Ross wouldn't live long, and N.J. Nicholas would eventually take the reins. Now, Gerald Levine was courting Steve Ross, effectively eliminating his biggest competitor. Gerald Levine, Aaron shook his head. Was this the root cause of Time Warner's future management turmoil? Now he could betray N.J. Nicholas, but upon Steve Ross's death, there would undoubtedly be a boardroom purge. Otherwise, Gerald Levine wouldn't be able to control the board, which was now largely comprised of Steve Ross supporters. That afternoon, Dawn Steele arrived at Aaron's office. "Janda Bond has a good idea. Speed will start shooting this summer, with Keanu Reeves and Jennifer Connelly as the male and female leads. Work with him as soon as possible to complete the crew. The movie will be released next summer." Aaron had already negotiated with Keanu Reeves for this movie, and as for Jennifer Connelly, there was no problem at all. As for getting Jennifer Connelly to join the pain of reality, that was also simple. She could just ask for leave from school when the time comes. Dawn Steele nodded. There were still several months to prepare, so there was no problem. "By the way, send the outline of the script for The Mask of Zorro to director Ridley Scott. This kind of historical action film suits Ridley's directing style." When Aaron was preparing for The Mask of Zorro, the first director he thought of was Ridley Scott. Director Ridley Scott? He's currently busy with post-production on 1492, The Conquest of Paradise, Dawn Steele explained. Last year's release of Thelma and Louise also earned Ridley Scott an Oscar nomination for Best Director. Thelma and Louise pioneered the fusion of feminism and the road movie, making it a current benchmark for feminism. Right, then let's have someone polish the script first, and wait until 1492, The Conquest of Paradise is released. I'll discuss the script with Ridley Scott later. Aaron wants to make The Mask of Zorro a thrilling Western action film, and the budget won't be low. However, for now, let's focus on Speed. Aaron, shouldn't we develop more romantic comedies now? They're not only low budget, but also easy to shoot. Compared to action blockbusters, romantic comedies also have a much shorter production cycle. Action films like Speed and The Mask of Zorro require larger budgets and are more challenging to shoot, presenting a challenge for the newly established ONE Pictures. Aaron smiled and said, "Don't worry, I will definitely be filming romantic comedies. Moreover, I will also set up a genre film label specializing in releasing B-grade films such as horror, thrillers, bloody and violent films. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels." Chapter 136 I Have a Date. London, Westminster, Knightsbridge. The 45th BAFTA Awards ceremony took place at the Royal Albert Hall. Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster won Best Actor and Best Actress, respectively, for their roles in The Silence of the Lambs. "Congratulations, both," Aaron congratulated them at the banquet. "Thank you," both Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins said excitedly. Aaron smiled. The Silence of the Lambs also received many Oscar nominations and is a hot topic in Hollywood. "It's fantastic that we acquired The Silence of the Lambs from Orion. Aaron, you have good taste." Jodie Foster shook her head. Orion, indeed, lacked foresight. The Silence of the Lambs grossed $130 million in North America and $270 million worldwide. The rights were sold to Dawn Pictures. Another film, The Addams Family, released last November, grossed $110 million in North America and $190 million worldwide. The rights were sold to Paramount. A short while later, Winona Ryder joined Anthony Hopkins to offer his congratulations. The two had joined from the set of Dracula, presumably a film, currently filming. Dressed in a black suit, with shoulder-length black hair and minimal makeup, Winona Ryder approached and said, "I've been feeling very stressed lately." Aaron frowned. "Have you been taking those over-the-counter medications again?" Aaron knew Winona Ryder had a problem with substance abuse, primarily with antidepressants. However, on set, Winona Ryder demonstrated her professionalism and rarely took medication. Seeing Winona Ryder's head down and silent, Aaron patted her shoulder and said, "My advice is to take on some romantic comedies and avoid the dark, tragic roles. If you continue to use drugs, it will definitely hurt your career." Winona Ryder has no shortage of scripts these days. She's young, beautiful, and, more importantly, a talented actress. "Depp and I haven't seen each other in a long time." Aaron was surprised to hear this. Is he in love? Aaron knew exactly what kind of person Johnny Depp was. Every time he filmed a movie, he would have a new lover around him. "Well, as an actor, it's a bit busy," Aaron consoled with a smile. "Okay, don't think too much. You should focus on your career now. These were all Hollywood stars, and the attention they received was far more than a producer like Aaron could compare. Afterwards, Aaron found Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was also attending the awards ceremony. The TV series Mayflower was also nominated for an award in the drama category. Aaron, congratulations. The sexy and beautiful Catherine Zeta-Jones was delighted to see Aaron, her face full of excitement. The two kissed for a while, and Aaron took her to a nearby bar. Aaron sat on the sofa, holding the girl in his arms. Mayflower Season 2 is about to premiere, and your fame in the UK is growing. Honey, I'm just a TV star, my circle is very small. Mayflower had good ratings in the UK, but only in the UK. Besides, the British film industry is in a slump right now. The market has completely become Hollywood's backyard. Don't worry, I'm here not only to focus on Dracula, but also to establish a UK branch of Dawn. British literature, historical themes, and other themes are all sources of inspiration for Hollywood films. After all, the United States doesn't have much history, and the cultural heritage of the English language depends on the UK. Aaron said this, kissing the girl on the cheek several times. By then, there should be no shortage of film projects. Catherine Zeta-Jones is currently filming the series Mayflower, so she's not in a rush, but she definitely wants to make further progress. Really? Because the British film industry is in a slump right now, the government has introduced film investment policies, and there will be corresponding tax rebates for films shot on the UK. Catherine Zeta-Jones put her arm around the man's neck and smiled charmingly. The movie I'm in, Christopher Columbus, Discovering the New World, will be released in August. By then, I'll also be going to the US for promotional activities. Aaron raised a glass of wine. That's great. You can find me when you get to the US, okay? Cheers. Catherine Zeta-Jones also picked up a glass of wine and clinked it with Aaron. Then, Aaron hugged the girl in his arms and kissed her passionately. Buckingham, on the set of Dracula, Aaron looked at Gary Oldman's Count Dracula look and felt a little uneasy. Was the Japanese stylist based on kabuki? At that moment, Sidney Ganis, president of Columbia Pictures, approached Aaron. This film, along with A Few Good Men, starring Tom Cruise and Jodie Foster, is our key project this year. Director Capella, it shouldn't be delayed, right? Aaron smiled. Don't worry, we'll wrap filming next month, and Director Capella will be personally involved in post-production editing. Dracula will be released on time for Thanksgiving. Sidney Ganis nodded. Isn't it too explicit? Aaron was stunned and shrugged. You're talking about the film rating. It's definitely R. From what Sidney Ganis was saying, could a movie like this even be PG-13? Too greedy. Not to mention the exposed vampire bride in the movie, the dark and gruesome scenes alone meant it had to be R-rated. Okay, with you here, I have nothing to worry about. No one believes you. Aaron Anderson would do a business that loses money these days. Sidney Ganis smiled. It was mainly because ICM had leaked the news that Aaron Anderson was also optimistic about Orion's The Addams Family. Dawn's debt-fueled acquisition of The Silence of the Lambs was already surprising, but now it also proved Aaron Anderson's foresight. By the way, are you coming to the UK specifically to promote The Prince of Tides? Aaron changed the subject. The Prince of Tides is a romantic drama directed and starred by Barbra Streisand. It was released at the end of last year and has already grossed over $60 million in North America. It has also received positive reviews and received several Oscar nominations. I'm going to the Berlin International Film Festival. Sidney Ganis had nothing to hide and even invited Aaron. How about a trip to Berlin? Dawn doesn't seem to have any new films coming out right now. If there's a good one, Dawn will handle the North American market, and Columbia TriStar will handle the international market. Aaron spread his hands and pursed his lips. I have a date tonight. Look, it's that sexy Italian model who plays one of the vampire brides. Sidney Ganis smiled but said nothing. It was really hard to get Aaron to help out. Many Hollywood studios were eager to work with Dawn, especially several major distributors, who were wooing Aaron Anderson. Sony, which had always partnered with Dawn, certainly didn't want Aaron to switch to anyone else. Even though Dawn could distribute its films in North America, it still relied on several major distributors for the international market. Unfortunately, Aaron Anderson refused to sign an exclusive distribution contract with Sony. Chapter 137 Italian Style. 28-year-old Monica Bellucci, with a charming face, sexy lips, plump figure, and long black hair, all show her unparalleled charm. In a high-end restaurant on the Thames in Hammersmith, West London, Aaron gentlemanly pulled out a chair for Monica Bellucci and said, "Sit down, thank you, Aaron." After Aaron sat down, he took a sip of coffee, looked at the other party, and asked, "Are you planning to develop in Hollywood?" Monica Bellucci smiled helplessly. "If there is a chance, of course I hope so, but I have just entered the entertainment industry. I only made a cameo appearance for a few minutes in Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula." Monica Bellucci has just starred in an Italian drama, The Inheritance War, which is also a large-scale rough ethical film and will be released in Italy this summer. "But I'm probably a little too old for Hollywood now, and Hollywood doesn't really like my figure," Aaron smiled. "Opportunities always come to those who are prepared. It just depends on whether you can seize them." To Aaron, Monica Bellucci is now nothing more than a small-time European model, a minor figure who entered the film industry because of her looks and figure. Monica Bellucci got married 2 years ago and divorced last year. She pursues her modeling and acting career. "Your part in this movie should be over, right?" Monica Bellucci nodded. "We've been shooting for more than a week, and we have enough material. I hope director Capella can edit some more shots." Aaron continued to ask, "What are your plans next?" "Next, European advertising and modeling business. When this movie is released, I will strive for some job opportunities in the United States. Since you want to transition to the film and television industry, Hollywood is definitely the ultimate goal. No matter what, Monica Bellucci has to give Hollywood a try. After all, this Dracula can be regarded as her Hollywood debut, right?" At night, in the hotel bedroom, the sexy and plump Monica Bellucci lay on Aaron and kissed the man passionately. Feeling the girl's majesty, Aaron rolled over and pressed on her. Only Salma Hayek could compare with her 30-60 figure. "It will be very difficult to make it to Hollywood, especially for foreign actresses." "Well, I'm already learning English and I'm willing to start from the bottom." Monica Bellucci had a good mentality. Just like in Dracula, Bram Stoker's Dracula, didn't she also undress in just a few minutes? "When you go to Hollywood, you can come to Dawn Pictures to find me." Anyway, now Sophie Marceau has gone to Hollywood to develop her career, and Fatal Romance, directed by Tony Scott, is about to start shooting. At last, there is a chance to participate in Hollywood works. Having another Monica Bellucci is not a problem at all. "Okay," Monica Bellucci said, putting her arms around the man's neck, full of temptation. "Aaron, now, don't you want to experience the Italian style?" "Of course, there's a whole weekend." After spending a comfortable weekend with Monica Bellucci, Aaron spent £1.2 million to buy a 2-story villa on the Thames in Hammersmith, specifically for Catherine Zeta-Jones as a residence in London. After all, as a girl from Swansea, Wales, she has no place to rely on in London. On the Buckingham Studios, Aaron just received a call from Catherine Zeta-Jones, who had already moved into the newly purchased house. "Don't you need to redecorate?" "No, I like this minimalist style." "Do you want to come over this weekend?" "It depends." "I'll call you then." Aaron put down his phone, and a moment later, Esther Beckett came to the office. "What's up, boss?" "This script, The Flame, seems worth investing in." It was directed by French director Louis Malle, and the male and female protagonists are British actor Jeremy Irons and French actress Juliette Binoche. Juliette Binoche is a must-see, and actor Jeremy Irons is no ordinary person either. He won the Oscar for Best Actor at last year's Oscars for Reversal of Fortune. The script is adapted from the novel of the same name published last year by British writer Josephine Hart. It is a work about desire, betrayal, ethics, and lust. This story centers on a clandestine affair between the male protagonist, Steve, and his son's girlfriend, Anna. Ultimately, his son, overcome with grief after stumbling upon his father and his girlfriend in bed, falls down the stairs. British Channel 4, French Canal Plus, and others are investors. Miramax and New Line in North America seem interested. Aaron shrugged, believing a film like this wouldn't have much commercial appeal. A $2.5 million investment in exchange for North American distribution rights, they'll agree. This Jeremy Irons starred in Steven Soderbergh's Kafka, which was released late last year. Right, yes, that's him. He also starred in M. Butterfly, a true story based on a Chinese play, which is coming out this year. Jeremy Irons is a veteran British actor, but his films are primarily art house, less commercially oriented, and his primary market is Europe. M. Butterfly, Aaron knew the film. The co-star was John Lone, a man disguised as a woman who fell in love with Jeremy Irons. As for the Chinese drama, Farewell My Concubine should be filming there right now, right? Originally, John Lone was supposed to play Cheng Dia in Farewell My Concubine, but that didn't happen, so he starred in M. Butterfly. In a previous life, Farewell My Concubine missed out on the Best Foreign Language Film Oscar due to lack of PR. It wasn't until Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon that a Chinese language film won an Oscar for the first time. Zhang Yimou's Judao and Raise the Red Lantern were both nominated for Best Foreign Language Film for 2 consecutive years. Last year, Judao was distributed in North America by Orion Classics, but it didn't win. This year, Raise the Red Lantern will have a hard time winning either, even with Dawn Pictures distributing it. By the way, shut down Dawn Pictures' 2 subsidiary labels, Crescent Films and Twilight Films, as soon as possible. Crescent Films is responsible for investing in and distributing foreign art films and independent literary and artistic films, while Twilight Films is responsible for investing in and distributing B-grade films with violence, gore, horror, and thrillers. Chapter 138, Very Flexible. Buckinghamshire, with its proximity to London and home to Pinewood Studios and Shepperton Studios, is home to most of the UK's film and entertainment companies. It boasts a well-developed industry chain, encompassing film production companies, special effects companies, post-production sound companies, prop companies, and more. After Aaron established on UK Films in Buckingham, he also invested in a 40% stake in the long-established British art house cinema chain, Electric Cinemas. Like Landmark Cinemas in the US, Electric is a small art house cinema chain, but it remains crucial to the nascent on films. Dawn UK Films is headed by Graham Bradstreet, a former partner at Studio Pictures who left the company last year. That evening, at the Ritz Hotel on Piccadilly in central London, Aaron took Catherine Zeta-Jones to a party hosted by Polygram Films. Polygram Films' acquisition of the British independent production company Studio Pictures has significantly strengthened its film and television development capabilities. Aaron, you've been quite active in the UK lately. Michael Kuhn clinked glasses with Aaron, grinning. Suzuki had established a UK branch and hired a former partner from Studio Pictures to lead it. Furthermore, it had acquired a stake in London's established art house Electric Cinemas, a clear indication of its commitment to independent distribution in the UK. Aaron took a sip of his wine. It's unavoidable. There are so many cinema chains these days. I'm worried we'll see another round of mergers and acquisitions soon. Suzuki is a young film company. We need to prepare ahead of time. Only by establishing our own distribution channels can we prepare for future expansion. Among the major Hollywood distributors, Columbia TriStar owns shares in Loews Cinemas and Walter Reed Cinemas. UIP, United International Pictures, a joint venture between Universal and Paramount, owns a 40% stake in the major European cinema chain, Odeon Cinemas. Warner Brothers, Disney, and 20th Century Fox all own their own theaters to varying degrees, as well as having investments in certain chains. As for independent Hollywood distributors, virtually every one of them started out operating cinemas. During the Reagan era of the 1980s, the Paramount Act was effectively dead, and the government even encouraged film companies to operate cinemas. However, due to the sheer volume of competition and the complex scale and composition of cinemas, film companies were reluctant to invest in theater chains. They invested in shares to secure their own distribution channels. Polygram has also invested in Gramercy Pictures in the US and will use Gramercy to distribute films there. Perhaps we could continue a partnership, with Polygram and Landmark Cinemas signing a distribution agreement. Polygram's distribution channels in the UK could also help promote Yu Guang's films. Michael Kuhn's suggestion was a sound one, and Aaron certainly had no objection. Absolutely. If Polygram has a good project but lacks funding, perhaps Xu Guang could provide some support. Aaron smiled. Polygram Films primarily focuses on British films, and even its Hollywood productions tend to be low-budget art house and romantic dramas. Philip still prioritizes Polygram's focus on the record industry and hasn't considered investing heavily in film and television. Dawn was different. Its investment in films was unmatched by Polygram's, and Polygram's distribution channels were a significant advantage. Mainly, Aaron had great confidence in Dawn. As long as they produced excellent films, other theater chains would naturally take the initiative to distribute their own films. After discussing this with Michael Kuhn, Aaron approached Graham Bradstreet and said, Dawn UK Films has been established, and I'm planning to develop a British-style romantic comedy. The project's name is Four Weddings and a Funeral. The protagonist is a wedding regular who fears marriage. At one wedding, He meets a flirtatious foreign woman. The two attend 4 weddings and a funeral, and ultimately marry. 4 Weddings and a Funeral would later become Hugh Grant's most famous film. British romantic comedies have subtle humor, unlike Hollywood ones. If 4 Weddings and a Funeral is positioned as a romantic comedy, Graham Bradstreet thought for a moment. When I was at Studio Pictures, I worked with a comedy screenwriter named Richard Curtis. He wrote the hit British comedy Mr. Bean over the past 2 years. I'll take this idea to Richard Curtis to adapt it, Aaron nodded. This kind of light romantic comedy is not expensive. I met the British actor Hugh Grant in the UK before, and he has a very good image. As for beautiful foreign women, Sophie Marceau from France is a good choice. Since 4 Weddings and a Funeral is a British comedy, the European market is definitely more important than the Hollywood market. Hugh Grant is not well known at the moment, while Sophie Marceau is quite famous in Europe, which is just right. Well, I'll find someone to adapt the script first. Graham Bradstreet certainly didn't object. The British film industry is really in a slump right now. After the banquet, Aaron and Catherine Zeta-Jones returned to their villa in Hammersmith. A British romantic comedy? I'll play a supporting role in it, sure. Catherine Zeta-Jones lay in Aaron's arms on the bed in the bedroom, her face flushed. Hearing Aaron mention 4 Weddings and a Funeral, Catherine Zeta-Jones happily agreed. With Mayflower Season 2 having aired, she could only get supporting roles in TV movies. Dawn's film was different, it was bound to be released in Hollywood. We'll probably start filming in the second half of the year, after Graham finds someone to finish the script. No problem, I'm not busy. Right now, I'm mainly doing some commercials, shooting for magazines, and commercials. Aaron caressed the girl in his arms. I have an appointment with director Ridley Scott to discuss a project these days. If you're free, come with me. No problem, I can come anytime. Catherine Zeta-Jones had hoped to meet more important people by following Aaron. You've learned tap dancing before, right? Would it be a problem for me to act in an action film in the future? Of course, I'm a tap dancing champion, and I've acted in stage plays, with lots of dancing. I'm pretty flexible, so I'll be fine with some action scenes. Aaron smiled and nodded. Catherine Zeta-Jones had already guessed that Aaron was going to discuss an action film with Ridley Scott. Dear, you should be aware of my flexibility. Chapter 139, There is no reward without effort. Early in the morning, in a villa in Hammersmith, London, Catherine Zeta-Jones was preparing breakfast in the kitchen, wearing a white shirt. Her curvy figure and slender legs made her look very charming. Good morning, dear. Aaron, who had finished washing up, came to the kitchen and hugged the girl from behind. Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned in the man's arms and smiled happily. Well, we can eat in a while. You can eat now. Aaron kissed the girl on the face and then kissed her on the lips. Catherine Zeta-Jones responded to the man's passionate kiss, and the buttons on her shirt were also unbuttoned. Okay, Aaron, didn't you say you were going to meet with director Ridley Scott today? After the kiss, Catherine Zeta-Jones leaned in the man's arms, her breathing becoming heavier. Well, we agreed to meet at noon. It's still early. Aaron leaned close to the girl's ear. Don't you know how attractive you are? Catherine Zeta-Jones rubbed Aaron's neck and squinted her eyes. Then do you want to stay in the UK for a while, or come to see me often in the future? I've always wanted to buy a house in the West End of London. Now, your dream has finally come true. Aaron smiled. Then your dream seems to be quite simple. Don't you want to buy a house in Kensington Gardens or Hyde Park in the future? Aaron, Catherine Zeta-Jones opened her eyes and looked at the man's face. Let me stay with you. You have to understand, I'm very fickle. I know. There is a reward for every effort. At noon, at the Savoy Hotel in Westminster, Aaron and Ridley Scott talked about the Mask of Zorro project, which really aroused the other party's interest. The land of the West, galloping horses, estates in the desert, gold mines, dungeons, and so on. The Mask of Zorro will be a wonderful action blockbuster. After hearing Aaron's introduction, Ridley Scott nodded. The early 1920s was indeed a historic turning point. It was the end of Spain's 300 years of rule over Mexico. The surging peasant uprising swept across the entire province of California at that time. It was a time when heroes were needed. Aaron smiled and continued, yes, the new Zorro will inherit and lead everyone to resist the last Spanish governor, and have an epic love story with old Zorro's daughter. Ridley Scott looked at Aaron. Who do you prefer for the male lead? Kevin Costner. After the success of Dances with Wolves, Kevin Costner became famous. JFK, a political thriller released last year, also achieved both good reputation and box office success. It received many Oscar nominations and even achieved a global box office of $200 million. Kevin Costner is currently filming the action romance The Bodyguard, co-starring with Whitney Houston. Ridley Scott asked, "Isn't the budget for this movie low? No less than $50 million, and they'll use a cast of Hispanic and Latino actors to fit the film's historical context. After all, it's a joint development between Sue Guang and Sony Columbia, so both parties have plenty of money." Well, that sounds great, but I'm editing 1492, The Conquest of Paradise right now, and I'll be going to the US to discuss the script with a screenwriter. After Ridley Scott left, Catherine Zeta-Jones approached Aaron and asked, "Director Scott, are you going to the US to attend the Oscars later this month?" "Yes, Thelma and Louise has 5 nominations, including Best Director. It's only early March. And the Oscars are held in late March. Preparing for The Mask of Zorro will take time. I plan to have you play the female lead, opposite Kevin Costner. There will be a lot of fencing scenes in the film, so you need to prepare well. However, 4 Weddings and a Funeral is easier to develop, so let's shoot this one first," Aaron said, stroking Catherine Zeta-Jones's long hair. "You have a classical beauty that suits this 19th century style, sexy, charming, yet elegant. In the future, Hollywood will recognize your beauty." "Really? I'm playing the female lead," Catherine Zeta-Jones said, somewhat incredulous. She had heard that The Mask of Zorro was a big production. "That's the plan. If you don't meet the requirements by then, it won't work." "Don't worry, I won't let you down." Catherine Zeta-Jones understood all too well the rarity and importance of opportunities. She was determined to seize this opportunity with all her might. Later, as the two were about to leave the Savoy Hotel, they ran into Samuel Gwynn Jr. "Aaron, good afternoon." Samuel Gwynn Jr. greeted Aaron warmly. "Good afternoon." Aaron also shook his hand warmly. Later, Aaron learned that Samuel Gwynn Films was developing a film adaptation of Shakespeare's plays, Much Ado About Nothing. It would be directed and starred by Kenneth Branagh, a renowned British Shakespearean enthusiast. After leaving the Savoy Hotel, Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was familiar with this person, explained to Aaron, "He's one of the founders of the Renaissance Theatre, along with his partner, David Parfit. In recent years, the Renaissance Theatre has collaborated with the Birmingham Repertory Theatre, touring with Shakespearean works like Much Ado About Nothing, As You Like It, and Hamlet, becoming a leading young figure in British stage play." Catherine Zeta-Jones, also active in British stage productions, knew more about the genre than Aaron. It seems Samuel Gwynn is developing Much Ado About Nothing with the intention of winning an Oscar. Aaron was sitting in the passenger seat, and he saw this kind of thing very clearly. Among the independent film companies in Hollywood now, the only ones that dare to increase their investment in commercial films are Carlock, Dawn, New Line and Castle Rock. The rest are still mainly art films and horror films. "Don't you want to win an Oscar?" Catherine Zeta-Jones, who was driving, laughed. "Don't you know that Dawn has 2 movies nominated for the Best Picture Oscar?" Aaron said, patting the girl's thigh. He thought that he might need to get used to the right-hand drive cars in the UK. "I know, Ghost and The Silence of the Lambs have great hopes of winning. Is Dawn going to have its first Oscar for Best Picture?" Chapter 140. What a great place. By mid-March, filming on Dracula wrapped, and Ridley Scott had gone to Los Angeles to work on The Mask of Zorro. Aaron, after arranging matters for Dawn's UK branch and preparing for 4 Weddings and a Funeral, returned to New York. Meanwhile, AOL officially launched its IPO on the Nasdaq, pricing its shares at $11.50 per share. Aaron's Cheyenne Hay Fund acquired 220,000 shares through auctions and acquisitions, spending $3 million. AOL's stock price rose 28.3% in the first day, closing at $14.75 per share, giving it a market capitalization of $62 million. A 4.83% stake, that's impressive, Aaron said, leaning back in his chair in his West Village office, following the AOL IPO closely. Cheyenne Hay Fund now owned a 4.83% stake in AOL, ready to sell it off in a few years when the tech and internet boom hit. Perfect. Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs has also begun distribution as an independent film. As a 3-no product, it's only making a small impact within the industry. Tony Scott's Fatal Romance has also begun filming. After all, with a budget of just over $10 million, it shouldn't be difficult for Sophie Marceau to land the leading role. Aaron then left New York and headed to Miami Beach with Jennifer Connelly, who had just finished her spring break. Sun, beach, and bikinis. The annual college spring break beach party is always filled with violence, sex, and drugs. Aren't you going to the Oscars? Jennifer Connelly asked, watching Aaron lounging on a beach chair under a parasol in South Beach. This year's Oscars are at the end of the month, just a week away. Why would I go? I'm not some celebrity who needs publicity. Aaron had endured the awful weather in London for the better part of a month and now just wanted to relax. Speed starts filming in June. How are you preparing? Jennifer Connelly smiled. I'm ready for everything. I even learned to drive a bus. However, it seems the crew of The Pain of Life you recommended will start filming even sooner. I estimate I'll be joining the crew next month and filming will take 4 to 5 weeks, so soon. Aaron stroked his chin. Because of Winona Ryder's participation, Dawn gave The Pain of Life a $12 million budget. The cost is similar to Tony Scott's new film, Fatal Romance, so you'll be on set in Houston next month. Jennifer Connelly nodded. That's fine, anyway. It's an art film about college graduates, perfect for you. After that's done, you can focus on filming Speed. That evening, a bar near South Beach was packed with young college students, and sexy Latina women were milling about, leaving a lasting impression. Sexy Jennifer Connelly, dressed in shorts and a white shirt, held Aaron in her arms as they danced to the music on the dance floor. No wonder so many people love this place. Miami is truly a diverse city, with Latin American music and dance, delicious food, and beautiful women. Aaron, feeling the warmth in his arms, couldn't help but mutter to himself. It's truly a man's paradise, attracting so many people to retire here. Oh, man, your girl is hot. Two young men swayed over to Aaron and Jennifer Connelly. Their faces were hard to see in the dim light, but Jennifer Connelly's figure was certainly alluring. Aaron pushed past them. Is it spicy? You need to tell me. Hey, buddy, we're having a bonfire party outside later. Wanna come? The two young men, undeterred, tried to invite them to the bash. Jennifer Connelly, nearby, put her arm around Aaron's waist and smiled. An open-air bonfire party, wanna check it out? It's supposed to be organized by the college kids nearby. Aaron shook his head. Forget it, it's a complete waste of time. Aaron wasn't interested. He had no conversation with these college kids who were just sitting around eating and waiting to die. Oh, no? That's not very polite to refuse someone's kindness like that. The young man had obviously heard the conversation. Aaron kissed the girl, looked at the two college students beside him, and smiled. Oh, tell me what is polite. At least, you have to let your girlfriend dance with us. Did you hear that, honey? They want you to dance. Jennifer Connelly almost couldn't help laughing out loud, but she still cooperated by pulling at her shirt on her chest, and her sexy cleavage became more tempting. Is it the dance I danced in the room at night? Aaron shook his head. Adolescent men are really bold and daring. He looked at the two of them. Okay, get out of here while I'm too lazy to argue with you now, otherwise, I'm worried that you will cry and go home to your mother for comfort. Fuck, the two of them glared, obviously provoked. Do you dare to go to the bathroom with us? PFFT. Aaron smiled and nodded at the two of them wearing floral shirts and big shorts. Just wait for me for 5 minutes, Aaron said to Jennifer Connelly again. Aaron then stretched out his hands, put his arms around the two men's shoulders, and went into the innermost bathroom together. Jack, this guy is really strong. In the bathroom, the two men who were almost dragged in by Aaron felt a sense of powerlessness when they were released. Bang! Aaron started from zero frame and punched one man in the stomach as soon as he entered the room. Ouch! The guy squatted on the floor, holding his stomach. What do you want to do? Before the other man could finish his words, Aaron grabbed his hair and hit him directly on the head with a knee. He fell to the ground and soon, blood oozed from his nose and mouth, and his face was swollen. No, we were wrong. The guy who had just been punched in the stomach was terrified when he saw his friend fall to the ground. Wrong? No, you are not wrong. Aaron smiled and reached out to pat the other man's face a few times. Do you know why I only beat him? Because he just disrespected your girlfriend. Aaron shook his head. No, because this guy is too ugly. It makes me upset. He's fine now. He probably has some concussion or something. It's not a big problem. His nose is definitely broken, and his mouth is rotten. He probably has a few teeth missing too. Help him to the hospital. Yeah, okay, I'm most familiar with the way to the nearby hospital. Chapter 141. Just a porn star. At the 64th Academy Awards in 1992, The Silence of the Lambs swept the awards, winning 5 awards: Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay, becoming the biggest winner. The Silence of the Lambs also became the first horror film to win Best Picture. Director Jonathan Demme, and lead actors Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster were all in high spirits. Aaron Anderson, returning to Los Angeles from his Miami vacation, also attended The Silence of the Lambs after-party. The cast and crew gathered at the Sunset Marcus Hotel in West Hollywood to celebrate the film, which had set a new Oscar record. Jack, have you been following the election? Aaron Anderson and Jack Wells shared a cigarette on the hotel balcony. Can Clinton from Arkansas really stand up to Bush? Jack Wells smiled. Bush's foreign policy had been so successful that the United States was now the sole global superpower. Aaron shook his head. But the U.S. economy has been tough in recent years. Although there's been some recovery this year, the unemployment rate is still high. Clinton's slogan is great. America's problem right now is the economy. Do you mean you want to support the Democrats? Jack Wells puffed out a cigarette. California is now a Republican powerhouse. Reagan was a Hollywood actor, so naturally Hollywood is a Republican supporter. Why not? Bush's attitude towards Hollywood isn't very good. Aaron knew Hollywood would soon become a Democratic stronghold. The Donald versus the Elephant War, starting with Clinton, will only get stronger, and the development of Hollywood and Silicon Valley has played a significant role. However, California is still primarily run by Republicans. The current governor, Pete Wilson, is a Republican, elected last January. Then, you can donate to Clinton's campaign through Angel Security or some other name. Either way, it's good for us. Jack Wells had already established a security company called Angel International, specializing in bodyguards and security. Perhaps because of the Angel Theater, the security company also had that name. Jack Wells nodded. His current Angel Security company had business dealings with some scavengers, private detectives and arms dealers. Perhaps he could take on some government orders in the future. Also, those state legislators in California should be won over and investments should be made as early as possible, Aaron said, taking out a check from his pocket and handing it to the other party. This is $2 million. The money should still be spent, Jack Wells whispered. Aaron, the Soviet Union collapsed, and there are a lot of good things there, which can generate income by reselling them, and what they lack are mainly daily necessities and the like. Aaron was stunned for a moment. Boy, you are not thinking of doing arms business over there? Well, there are such talents in the company. Even if we don't send them to Africa, we can handle them in Iraq. Jack Wells did not hide it. Weapons are really cheap. Is it safe? Don't let yourself get shot. Don't worry, I'm going to try it too. Go over there and take a look. What safety issues are there? Jack Wells said, smiling. You said before that we will form an international mercenary army at that time. I'm just getting in touch and learning first. Aaron nodded. It is very likely that there will be opportunities on the Iraqi battlefield by then. With private armed forces and government employment, after all, the government is sometimes inconvenient, and there are many desperate criminals in the United States. It is also possible to go to the battlefield and fight. Then, Aaron patted Jack Wells on the shoulder. It is okay to pursue excitement, but safety must be guaranteed. Even if Angel Security Company only takes on some celebrity bodyguard business, it will be enough for you to live a comfortable life. You know what I mean. I understand. I am not the low-level person I used to be. How can I not cherish the income of hundreds of thousands of dollars a year? Jack Wells said, and pinched out the cigarette in his hand. Besides, among normal countries, how many countries can be more dangerous than the United States? After a while, after returning to the banquet hall, Aaron called Brad Gray and asked about the Chinese-language movie Farewell My Concubine. Yes, it's still filming. I met with the director of Raise the Red Lantern, and he explained some of the situation. If Dawn Pictures wants to distribute it, they can contact them directly. Raise the Red Lantern was nominated for an Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film, and Brad Gray specifically approached director Zhang Yimou about Farewell My Concubine. Okay, contact the crew. Isn't our newly established Crescent Pictures specifically for distributing this kind of film? While Aaron prioritized commercial films, he couldn't ignore artistic works, as they wouldn't be recognized by filmmakers and critics. The Burning Lover, The Pain of Reality, and Farewell My Concubine were all highly artistic, arty films. After Brad Gray left, Nicole Kidman strode over with graceful steps. Isn't that our famous Aaron Anderson, finally back to Los Angeles? Seeing the woman's resentful expression, Aaron put his arm around her waist. What's wrong with you? You were so radiant on the Oscars red carpet. Just now I saw you talking to Jodie Foster, so engrossed. What do you think of a woman who's won 2 Best Actress Oscars? Nicole Kidman pursed her lips. Of course I'm envious. Unfortunately, the scripts I'm getting are all romantic comedies, not dramas, not biographies, so I definitely won't be in the running for Best Actress. So you're planning on working on a new film right after Sleepless in Seattle? Yes, with Michael Keaton. We already agreed. Batman Michael Keaton? Yes, that's Sharon Stone. Aaron suddenly noticed a sexy woman appearing in the banquet hall and frowned. Yet, Basic Instinct was just released in the US a while ago. It's a blend of suspense, thriller, and eroticism, and it's been very popular, Nicole Kidman whispered. Why, you don't like her? Aaron shook his head. A porn star? Is it my turn to like her? Basic Instinct opened with $15 million, and after 10 days, it's grossed $34.7 million. Its immense popularity has indeed made Sharon Stone a household name. Forget it, let's go back. Chapter 142 Double Happiness. In Santa Monica, in a villa on the Pacific Palisades, Nicole Kidman, emerging from the shower, saw Aaron put down his phone and asked, "What's up?" "Nothing. Spielberg went to the set of Jurassic Park in Hawaii. He just wrapped filming on Schindler's List, and he went straight to the new movie." Aaron shook his head. He was really in a hurry. Nicole Kidman climbed onto the bed. "Don has more and more projects now. I heard you're working with Columbia on a film about Zorro, and the director plans to invite Mr. Ridley Scott. Is that true?" "Yes, are you interested?" Aaron asked, leaning in and kissing the girl. "Well, what kind?" Nicole Kidman took off her bathrobe and responded to the man's kisses and caresses. "It's an adventure action movie, like Zorro, so there's bound to be a lot of fighting." Aaron smiled, lying on top of the girl. "Do you think you can handle a lot of fighting?" Nicole Kidman thought for a moment, then looked at her man. "With you here, it's fine, right? Well, this movie isn't really suitable for you. With your size and build, I'm worried you'll get hurt." "Okay," Nicole Kidman said. She had no shortage of scripts, but action films were definitely a stretch for her. "Well, if I get hurt, it'll be hard to get insurance coverage later. By the way, do you remember that New Zealand director Jane Campion?" Nicole Kidman asked. "Jane Campion? The independent director at the Cannes Film Festival a few years ago. Her film, Sweetheart, was nominated for the Palme d'Or. It lost to Steven Soderbergh's Sex, Lies, and Videotape. You've been in touch with her, haven't you?" Aaron caressed the girl's smooth, white body, and quickly remembered. "Yes, she's recently been preparing an art house drama, The Piano Lesson. It tells the story of a mute American woman who leaves her husband and returns to New Zealand with her daughter in the mid-19th century. They meet and fall in love with their new neighbor through a piano." Aaron blinked. "The Piano Lesson? Jane Campion is going to shoot this movie in Australia, right? Does she need investment? Then are you willing to invest?" Nicole Kidman leaned into the man's arms. Her movies don't seem to have much commercial appeal, but this The Piano Lesson is different. How could Aaron pass it up? "Don't worry, an Australian movie won't cost much. Jane Campion's work is always favored by awards ceremonies. You can tell Jane Campion to prepare well. Crescent Films will support it." Aaron's newly established Crescent Films and Twilight Films had to make a name for themselves. Films like The Burning Man, The Pain of Reality, and Farewell My Concubine were all art house films. She's still finalizing the script. "With your support, we can start filming soon." With that, Nicole Kidman embraced the man and kissed him. "Well," Aaron teased, "darling, can't you just repay me?" Nicole Kidman leaned close to the man's ear and whispered seductively, "How about finding someone else so you can have double the pleasure?" "Hey, you're so nice. We'll see how you perform later." In April, filming on Scent of a Woman wrapped, and post-production editing began. Along with Schindler's List, it will be released during awards season at the end of the year. Indecent Proposal and Sleepless in Seattle will follow in the summer. As for Jane Campion's new film, The Piano, which Nicole Kidman helped direct, Crescent Films invested $1.5 million in financing. The film, with its minimal locations and cast, is simply a story about a few actors centered around a piano. However, Dawn Pictures' current big project is the action film Speed, with a $33 million budget and filming primarily in Los Angeles. Keanu Reeves, who recently collaborated with Aaron Anderson on Point Break, stars in the film. With his experience on Point Break, speed shouldn't be a problem. Meanwhile, On the East Coast in New York, Aaron Anderson's longtime acquaintance Harvey Weinstein is scowling. Compared to Dawn's stellar performance, Miramax's situation is far from favorable. In the past 2 years, Miramax has aggressively acquired international art house films and supported independent releases, but none have matched the success of Sex, Lies, and Videotape and Cinema Paradiso. Throughout the entire year, the highest-grossing Miramax release was a mere $15 million, a documentary called In Bed with Madonna, based on performances and life experiences from Madonna's 1990 Blonde Ambition World Tour. It offers a realistic portrayal of the superstar. Harvey Weinstein said, scratching his hair in the Miramax offices in New York, his jealousy and hatred for Aaron Anderson growing stronger. He still vividly remembered the physical beatings and psychological torture Aaron Anderson inflicted on him, but suddenly, the gap between them was so wide. Forget the annual North American box office champion Ghost and the Oscar-winning Silence of the Lambs, even Boys and the Hood, a film about the black community directed by a new black director, grossed $57 million. Harvey, it's time to change your mindset. Suddenly, the office door opened, revealing his brother, Bob Weinstein. Miramax is focused on box office success and commercial success, not those damn critical acclaims. Bob, what do you mean? Harvey Weinstein asked his brother. What do you mean? I want to set up a label specializing in genre films featuring violence, gore, horror, and sexy women. Releasing these kinds of purely commercial films is the path Miramax should take. For Bob Weinstein, nothing was more important than a film's commercial success. The ultimate goal of a film should be to make money. This was the biggest difference between Bob Weinstein and Harvey Weinstein. Bob Weinstein always cared about whether the film made money, not about the awards it won, the number of Oscar nominations, and so on. Harvey Weinstein glanced at his brother and expressed his support. Miramax's direction won't change. We will continue to boldly develop independent art films. As for your desire to set up a genre film label, then go for it. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 143 Controversial Works. The film Basic Instinct, produced by Carlock and distributed by TriStar, has been a huge hit, worthy of the work of director Paul Verhoeven, who was born in Amsterdam, the sex capital. The performances of Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone in the film have also drawn widespread criticism, making it arguably the most controversial film of the year. At an Italian restaurant in Century Plaza, Los Angeles, Aaron was discussing his new film, Indecent Proposal, with CAA's Michael Ovitz. Robert Redford means that he doesn't want to use gender issues as the theme of publicity too much. The main focus should be on the plot of the movie, morality, marriage and so on. Listening to Michael Ovitz's words, Aaron just smiled. The purpose of publicity is to attract audiences to the theater, and gender issues are indispensable. Besides, Indecent Proposal itself is an immoral transaction. Human nature, ethics. Dawn invested $15 million in marketing. Robert Redford should be worthy of his $8 million salary. It is his job to promote the movie. You know, Mel Gibson's salary for filming Lethal Weapon 3 was only $10 million, and it was also released this year. Robert Redford was able to get $8 million in Indecent Proposal because this movie was a package project of CAA. Aaron, you have to realize that Michael Douglas's salary for Basic Instinct was a whopping $12 million. Aaron shrugged. If Robert Redford was willing to star in Basic Instinct, Carlock would have offered him at least $15 million, and even if it was $12 million, how many big names would be willing to take on a film like that? Michael Douglas could let go, but could Robert Redford ignore the controversy? This kind of work easily defines an actor. CAA was willing to sell the Indecent Proposal project to Dawn Films because Aaron offered a $25 million budget, plus a 15% share of the film's box office and video revenue. By the way, is Paramount going to develop John Grisham's novel The Entrapment? Aaron changed the subject. Michael Ovitz smiled. Well, Tom Cruise is the male lead, and I've also persuaded director Sidney Pollack to direct. Why, you're also interested in John Grisham's novels? Aaron threw up his hands helplessly. His novels sell so well, who wouldn't be interested? Unfortunately, Dawn didn't have its own publishing company. Which of the 6 major film groups didn't have their own publishing companies? Novels by such renowned authors often had their adaptation rights snapped up by the major film studios before they were even published. What could Aaron do? He could only buy low-selling novels like Forrest Gump. The Trap, John Grisham's second novel, was published last year, but Paramount acquired the adaptation rights the year before. Glancing at Michael Ovitz, Aaron couldn't help but ask, which company bought the film rights to John Grisham's novel, The Pelicans, which was published this year? Warner Brothers. They already agreed before it was published last year. Warner Brothers wants to adapt it, and they were in the early stages of development. Michael Ovitz had no reason to hide this. As Aaron Anderson, he needed to know the news quickly. John Grisham is not only a novelist but also a lawyer, and his novels often feature lawyers as their protagonists. Their novels have tense plots and unexpected endings, with themes entwined with American law and politics, making them political thrillers. Oh. Tom Cruise just played a lawyer in A Few Good Men, and now he's playing a lawyer again in Trap. A Few Good Men had just wrapped filming, and it was set to be released this Christmas, and now Tom Cruise was already preparing to star in Trap. Michael Ovitz spread his hands and smiled. We've convinced Sidney Pollack to direct this movie, and Tom Cruise is very willing to work with him. The next day, at a club on Sunset Boulevard in West Hollywood, Aaron met with director Giuseppe Tornatore, accompanied by Monica Bellucci, who is in the U.S. filming a commercial. Are there any new projects you'd like to develop? Shugwan can provide you with a lot of support. Aaron took a sip of his wine. Giuseppe Tornatore had been involved in the production of Scent of a Woman from beginning to end, and Aaron wanted to give back. I don't have any ideas yet. Giuseppe Tornatore shook his head. He still wasn't used to Hollywood-style films. While Italian films had always had a weak market, the Italian economy was still very strong, having been on a steady rise since the 1950s. Are you planning to go back to Italy? Giuseppe Tornatore nodded. Of course. Scent of a Woman will be at the Venice Film Festival and released at the end of the year, with a shot at an Oscar. Aaron brought Monica Bellucci along, allowing her to get to know the Italian director, which would be beneficial for her in the future. How does it feel to be in the States? After Giuseppe Tornatore left, Aaron asked Monica Bellucci, who had been in the States for some time. Here, there are lots of parties, and the women are very energetic. It seems not as laid back as in Europe. Monica Bellucci is now a brand ambassador for L'Oreal and is in the US to shoot commercials for fashion magazines like American Vogue and Harper's Bazaar. Leisurely, Europe does have high welfare benefits, Aaron understood. After all, Italy is now an economic powerhouse. That evening, Aaron took Monica Bellucci back to his villa in the Bel Air neighborhood. Monica Bellucci lay on Aaron on the bed in the bedroom, breathing heavily. Feeling the girl's 30-60, Aaron stroked her long hair. How long do you plan to stay in the United States this time? I don't know yet. Maybe I'll try to submit some resumes to Hollywood crews to see if there are any suitable roles. Aaron narrowed his eyes. I guess it will be difficult. If there are, they will be similar to the role in Dracula, some dispensable roles. All they care about is your body. Monica Bellucci just smiled. I know all this. I debuted late. I'm a newcomer to the film and television industry. As an Italian, it's very difficult to break into Hollywood, and I'm willing to give what I deserve. As she said that, Monica Bellucci kissed Aaron. Chapter 144, To Please the Jews. With the launch of the massive publicity campaign for Indecent Proposal, posters began appearing prolifically on television, radio, in newspapers, on billboards, and in cities. Actors from the show, such as Robert Redford and Demi Moore, also frequently appeared in television studios and at press conferences. Aaron sat on a beach chair by the pool at his Bel Air villa, flipping through the newspaper. Several blockbusters were set to be released in May: Warner Brothers' Lethal Weapon 3, 20th Century Fox's Alien 3, and Universal's Western Far From Home. Dawn's upcoming Indecent Proposal would directly compete with Lethal Weapon 3. Just then, the voluptuous Monica Bellucci emerged from the pool, her alluring figure on full display, her breasts poised to burst. She smiled and approached Aaron, taking a sip of the juice beside her. He glanced at Aaron and said, "My agent called. I might be going to New York. Do you need me to stay with you for a few days?" "Work's priority," Aaron said, pulling Monica Bellucci into his arms. "No rush, we can meet up anytime." Feeling the woman's fullness in his arms, Aaron kissed her lips and casually unhooked her bikini. "Yes," Monica Bellucci said, leaning on top of Aaron. "Call me anytime you miss me." Aaron smiled. "Do you trust me so much? Aren't you worried I'm just attracted to your body?" Monica Bellucci nuzzled into the man's chest. "You're a Hollywood powerhouse, and I'm just an Italian model. I can't resist. Besides, you're not one of those fat, bald old men. I don't think any woman could resist your affection, especially one aiming for a career in the entertainment industry. What I'm worried about now is how long your interest in me will last." Aaron knew Monica Bellucci was always clear-headed and didn't particularly care about intimacy with men. "I recently created 2 new labels, one for art films and one for horror films. When the time comes, I will arrange for you to appear in a horror film. You are beautiful and have a good figure. First, show your strengths through Hollywood horror films. You need to accumulate experience," Aaron said, reaching out and patting the other person on the back. "In the future, be more careful. I don't like my woman to have any relationship with other men." Monica Bellucci nodded. "No one likes to be treated as a plaything. With you here, I don't think anyone will take advantage of me anymore. Don't worry, if you keep being so obedient, I will make you famous in the future." Monica Bellucci smiled and whispered something in Aaron's ear. Then the two of them went straight into the villa. Los Angeles, on Santa Monica Boulevard, a Lexus LS400 drove into the city and stopped in front of the Biltmore Millennium Hotel. Inside was a fundraising dinner hosted by the Clinton Campaign Committee. Aaron got out of the car and entered the hotel's third-floor banquet hall. "Aaron, you're here." Jack Wells was waiting for him. "How was it? How did it feel?" Aaron looked at Jack Wells and smiled. Jack Wells spread his hands. "We donated $550,000, and with your fame, we sold countless more tickets. How could Clinton not be grateful?" Aaron said helplessly. "I mean, what does it feel like to be here?" "It feels like Hollywood, where all the politicians are actors." "Haha, good point. Let's go. I want to meet this philandering governor, too." The Arkansas governor's numerous sex scandals had become a point of attack for the Bush team. In the banquet hall, Aaron quickly met Clinton and Hillary Clinton. They welcomed Aaron's support and expressed their gratitude. "Aaron, what are your thoughts on this election?" Although Aaron was young, he had risen to prominence quickly. Clinton was a minor figure in the Democratic Party, and few people were optimistic about him when he was pushed forward. Therefore, they were very fond of Aaron, a timely helper. "What's your opinion?" Aaron looked at the other person and smiled slightly. "Groups such as homosexuals, blacks, women's rights, and AIDS cannot be ignored. They have always been disliked by the Republican Party." "The LGBT group? It can indeed provide a lot of votes. Of course, the most important thing is the economic development of the United States and reducing the unemployment rate." After the banquet, Jack Wells was also puzzled. This guy, an Irish-American lecher, can really become the President of the United States. The President of the United States, why not? Everyone just needs a representative, and those people behind can just pull a pig out of the pigsty and push it up. Aaron patted the other person on the shoulder. "Have you noticed that this guy is now in contact with Jewish capital? This guy is bent on currying favor with the Jews, just to get their support. Now that his support rate is low, our support seems precious." Okay, Jack Wells thought these activities were very boring, but if this guy really became president in the end, the feeling would be different. "By the way, will the 4 white policemen involved in the Rodney King beating case last year be tried at the end of this month?" Jack Wells was stunned. "I don't remember." "Any questions?" Aaron reminded him. "According to speculation, the 4 white policemen will most likely be acquitted." "What do you think those black people will do then?" "What?" Jack Wells scratched his head in confusion. "It's nothing more than marches, protests, and demonstrations. They did that last year. If they are not satisfied with the verdict, they will definitely not let it go." "Well, I guess so. However, in order to prevent the situation from getting serious, our landmark cinemas in Los Angeles must ensure security during the court trial. I'm worried that those black people will march violently." Aaron almost forgot about the black riots and the fights between Koreans in Los Angeles. He had talked with Clinton about the LGBT community and associated it with black people. By then, it would be a real riot, with arson, smashing, looting, and shooting. Jack Wells smiled. "Don't worry, we have 7 theaters in the greater Los Angeles area, and the 2 in downtown are the least secure. The security guards I arranged are retired soldiers, and the theater is well armed." Hearing Jack Wells' words, Aaron felt relieved. "Well, that's good. You know, those guys like to do $0 shopping." Chapter 145, Brothel and Poison Den. After leaving the fundraising dinner, Jack Wells and Aaron went to the Viper House Bar in Hollywood. "Did you know, Aaron, Johnny Depp recently invested in this bar, Jack Wells introduced Aaron with a smile while sitting on the sofa. Johnny Depp, are you planning to use this as their base? Perhaps a brothel or drug den would be more appropriate. That's about right, Jack Wells said, knowing Johnny Depp well. Suddenly, Jack Wells spotted two black men not far away, Sean Combs and Tupac Shakur, both outstanding young black rappers and producers. Sean Combs, at 23, was already a senior executive at Uptown Records, while Tupac Shakur, at only 21, had already achieved considerable fame. Aaron, are you aware of the new film that black director John Singleton is filming? Jack Wells asked. At the recent Oscars, John Singleton became the first African-American director to be nominated for Best Director for his performance in Boys in the Hood. Oh, John's got a new movie. Aaron hadn't really paid much attention. Well, Columbia Pictures is investing in a romantic film about young black people called Justins Who Write Poetry. The female lead is Michael Jackson's sister, Janet Jackson. The male lead is a black rapper named Tupac Shakur. Jack Wells knew because he'd run into the crew yesterday, and he knew more about black people in the entertainment industry than Aaron did. It was normal for Aaron not to know Sean Combs and Tupac Shakur, as they were only minor celebrities at the moment. And Aaron didn't really pay much attention to black rappers. Aaron said with disdain, Columbia, I discovered last year that they're very close to John Singleton. Do you really think an Oscar nomination for Best Director will propel you to the top? Jack Wells could hear Aaron's frustration. After all, it was Aaron Anderson who had supported him in making Boys in the Hood. John Singleton was working directly with his previous distributor, Columbia, on his new film. Jack Wells smiled, looked in the direction of the two men, and narrowed his eyes. Black people, they really are unreliable. John Singleton's Boys in the Hood was a success, and he had no shortage of investors. Aaron took a sip of his wine. If they were reliable, sows would climb trees. A while later, after Aaron left, Jack Wells didn't go home immediately. Instead, he called a friend on the payphone outside to teach Tupac Shakur a lesson. Soon, Jack Wells' old friend John Levine arrived, and the two of them stared at Tupac Shakur and the others. It wasn't until after 1 in the morning that Sean Combs and Tupac Shakur staggered out of the Viper House. Let's go, Jack Wells and the other man in the car at the entrance said, getting out and following them. Go. Arriving in the alley, Jack Wells and John Levine rushed forward, baseball bats in hand, each attacking one man at a time. Bang, bang, ah, ah. With two screams, the drunken Sean Combs and Tupac Shakur collapsed to the ground, their heads bleeding. Jack Wells struck Tupac Shakur on the head with a club, then grabbed him by his dreadlocks and slammed him against a nearby wall, knocking him unconscious. He was determined not to prevent the filming of Justins Who Writes Poetry from proceeding smoothly. John Levine was far more ruthless, striking Sean Combs directly on the back of the head with a club, causing him to bleed profusely and collapse. He quickly stripped both men of their valuables, including necklaces, watches, and cash, dragged them into a nearby trash heap, and quickly departed. After discarding his baseball bat and gloves, John Levine beamed with excitement. Jack, these two guys are seriously rich. Gold bracelets, gold necklaces, gold watches, gold rings, and thousands of dollars in cash. Jack Wells didn't seem to mind, handing them over. John, did you hit them too hard just now? Oh, who knows? Didn't you say we had to be careful and not get caught? John Levine was confident in his abilities. He knew the man he'd assaulted wouldn't survive. Okay, Jack Wells said, not caring much about the other guy. Tupac Shakur was definitely seriously injured, and the head wound was no small feat. By the way, John, I heard the verdict for the 4 officers in the Rodney King beating case is coming soon. If they're acquitted, black people might stage violent demonstrations. Security at the 2 movie theaters near downtown needs to be tightened up during this period. Jack Wells didn't think Aaron's speculation was groundless. He was worried too. Want to try the $0 shopping game? John Levine smiled. Don't worry, we've encountered this many times. No one can get away with it from us. We have killed so many black people and Mexicans. Jack Wells nodded. John, it's next month. Shall we go to Russia? John Levine thought for a while. Have you really thought about it? You are not short of money now. Everyone must have his own career. I don't think this is the life I want to manage these theaters. The next morning, a black body and a seriously injured black man were found in the garbage dump in the neighborhood near the Viper House bar. The dead man was Sean Combs, a black rap musician from New York. He had just performed at a star basketball game held by City College of the City University of New York at the end of last year. A stampede occurred, which directly led to the tragedy of 9 deaths and 29 injuries. Tupac Shakur, known by his stage name Tupac, is in the intensive care unit. Last year, he released a rap album that drew public condemnation from Vice President Dan Quayle, garnering considerable attention. He starred in the black crime film The Harley Brothers, which was released earlier this year, and is currently filming John Singleton's new film, Justin's Who Write Poems, in Los Angeles. Los Angeles police initially estimated that the two were attacked during a robbery last night. Tupac had just debuted, and Sean Combs hadn't yet established his Bad Boy Records label, becoming the future Puff Daddy. Therefore, their incident didn't cause much of a stir. After all, in Los Angeles, the robbery and attack of two black rappers is a common occurrence. Jack Wills had no idea that his impulsive decision would lead to significant losses for the future of black rap. Chapter 146 Disney's Sincerity. Jack Wells sat on the sofa at his Venice Beach villa in Los Angeles, the newspaper in his hand carrying the news that Tupac Shakur had been admitted to the intensive care unit. With this, production on Justin the Poet would undoubtedly be halted. As for the death of Sean Combs, another black man, he truly didn't care. Back in Culver City, at Sony Studios headquarters, at Columbia Pictures, Sidney Gaines looked across at John Singleton, seated across from him. He felt a pang of frustration over what had happened to the lead actor in Justin the Poet. "Let's find another black lead," he said. Cuba Gooding Jr. from Boys and the Hood would be a good choice. The insurance company will cover the damage. Sidney Gaines understood the problems inherent in black gang members. With a $16 million investment in Justin the Poet, he couldn't just abandon it. "I'll talk to Cuba Gooding Jr., John Singleton reported to Sidney Gaines with some difficulty before leaving. Afterward, Sidney Gaines picked up the Mask of Zorro project Su Guang had sent him and began to read it. After all, Aaron Anderson's project was his most important. A new generation of Zorro stories, a thrilling Western action-adventure, directed by Ridley Scott, and Kevin Costner is the leading actor? Aaron's thinking is really a bit unpredictable," Sidney Gaines muttered to himself in his chair. He didn't react much to the project's budget of at least $50 million. Even if it was $60 million or $70 million, he would still be willing to work with Su Guang. The combination of Kevin Costner and Ridley Scott was exciting. That evening, at the Mosaic Hotel in Beverly Hills, Aaron and Nicole Kidman attended a business reception attended by many celebrities. "Aaron, can we talk?" Jeffrey Katzenberg, chairman of Disney Pictures, approached Aaron. Aaron smiled and kissed Nicole Kidman on the cheek. "I'll be gone for a moment, please, Mr. Katzenberg." The two of them went to the balcony, and Aaron looked at the other's shiny bald head. "Euro Disneyland is opening in the next 2 days, right?" "Congratulations," Jeffrey Katzenberg nodded. "Eisner has already left for Paris with others." Jeffrey Katzenberg smiled. "What do you think of Hollywood now? There's more and more hot money pouring in from outside, and as the economy recovers, capital will increase even more." Japan, the world's second largest economy, has burst its real estate bubble, and house prices and stocks have been halved, but their overseas funds are still the world's largest. Germany's reunification has released an immeasurable amount of economic volume. Even if Japanese investment in Hollywood will decrease relatively, European capital will soon fill the gap. Hollywood's globalization will usher in a new golden age, Aaron said, glancing at the night view of Los Angeles. A new round of reshuffle is underway in Hollywood, and the diversification of film companies is the mainstream. It's difficult for a simple film company to compete with a media group. Jeffrey Katzenberg spoke flatly. Movies, television, cable TV networks, home videos, brand licensed consumer products, theme parks, and so on. The film industry's upstream and downstream supply chains are becoming increasingly complex and interconnected. Under antitrust law, broadcast networks can't merge with the major film studios, but news corporations Fox Network and 20th Century Fox seem to have started the trend. Everyone knows it won't be long before the merger of major broadcast networks and film groups is inevitable. Just like the Paramount decree, it's a product of a specific era and must evolve with the times. Aaron smiled. Jeffrey Katzenberg certainly had a point, but even though Fox Network was known as the fourth largest broadcast network, it only had a few affiliated TV stations. ABC, NBC, and CBS, the three established broadcast networks, each boast nearly 200 affiliated stations. including over a dozen directly affiliated urban stations. Fox, at present, is at most a third the size of the three major broadcast networks. Without further action from Congress, News Corporation can't expand its market without restraint. Mr. Katzenberg, get this straight. Jeffrey Katzenberg looked at Aaron. Disney wants to acquire Dawn Pictures. If you join Disney, you'll be in full control of Disney's live-action film and television business. You'll be president of Disney Motion Picture Group, responsible for content production across Disney, Touchstone, Dawn, and all Hollywood labels. You'll only report to me or Eisner. In addition to your fixed salary, your compensation will include performance-based bonuses and stock options commensurate with your position. Aaron blinked. When this guy had previously wanted to acquire Dawn, his condition had simply been that he continue to manage Dawn Pictures and guarantee its independence. Now, the terms were much higher. President of Disney Motion Pictures. Aaron wondered if Jeffrey Katzenberg was motivated by Suzuki's acquisition of Pixar. It seemed Disney's continued failures with live-action films and lack of success at the Oscars had truly worried them. Disney was currently conquering the market with animation. Beauty and the Beast, released late last year, was not only nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars but also grossed $145 million in North America and $245 million worldwide. What do you think, Aaron? We're serious. I'm sorry, Mr. Katzenberg, but I won't sell Suzuki Pictures. Aaron refused without hesitation. Why? Joining Disney would give you more connections and inestimable resources. Suzuki is doing well, but your profits are primarily from the films themselves. You can't afford a few failures. Could anyone truly achieve sustained success? Aaron shook his head. Suzuki must remain complete and independent. We won't become part of another entertainment group. Suzuki was booming. Who would want to hire someone as their boss? Look at Orion. It only considered selling itself after suffering huge losses, and there was a condition that even after the merger, Orion must maintain its own independence. However, now that Orion's losses have increased, this condition has been eliminated. However, no one is interested. It has now applied for bankruptcy protection. If no investors take over, it will be placed under bank custody. Chapter 147 Storm Formation. Aaron wasn't at all tempted by Jeffrey Katzenberg's idea. After all, there was currently discord among Disney's top brass. Katzenberg's animation efforts had already been impressive, while Michael Eisner's prized Euro Disneyland Paris was not only over budget, but would also be even more intrigued if it were to find insufficient attendance after its opening in the next 2 days. The better Katzenberg's performance, the more Michael Eisner would become jealous. Furthermore, now that Katzenberg had brought up the old idea of acquiring Sugan, Aaron had every reason to believe he was also eyeing Pixar, having previously considered signing a 3D animation production agreement with the company. From 2D hand-drawn animation to stop-motion animation and motion animation to 3D computer animation, it was a shame that Jeffrey Katzenberg wasn't the one making the decisions at Disney. At that moment, Nicole Kidman suddenly approached Aaron. I just heard that MGM's new owner, Giancarlo Pare, has been indicted by prosecutors in Europe and the United States for securities fraud. The French bank Crédit Lyonnais is preparing to reclaim ownership of MGM. Aaron smiled and nodded. Pretty much. He's just a white glove. Aaron had guessed this when he heard at Giancarlo Pare's lavish villa party that CAA was recommending new management for MGM. Right. How could they have kept this kind of news from you? Nicole Kidman didn't really care about the shareholder changes at these film companies, but thanks to Aaron, her perspective had broadened considerably. By the way, will you be at the Cannes Film Festival next month? Aaron pondered for a moment, then glanced at Nicole Kidman. I haven't decided yet. Why, are you going to Cannes? Yes, to promote the film. Aaron put his arm around the girl's waist. The crew of Basic Instincts will be in Cannes to promote it. It's such a controversial film, and this year's Cannes Film Festival will definitely be filled with reporters chasing Basic Instincts. Sharon Stone will undoubtedly be the most watched actress this year. She'll get the same treatment you got last year. Last year, the release of Ghost catapulted Nicole Kidman to global fame. Moreover, Sharon Stone's performance in Basic Instincts was incredibly popular, with her legs crossed and other revealing scenes, making her a household name as a Hollywood porn star. Nicole Kidman smiled. We have different styles. Currently, many of Nicole Kidman's scripts are romantic comedies, but she's also on the lookout for excellent dramas. It depends. Maybe we'll go to Cannes for a day or two. Dawn Studios really needs a new film to release. With the summer season approaching, film companies are increasingly launching promotional campaigns for their films. In Aaron's office at Dawn Studios, Jonathan Demme, director of The Silence of the Lambs, came to pitch a screenplay idea. It's about AIDS, and it also touches on same-sex relationships, Aaron said after skimming through the first draft. Jonathan Demme nodded. Yes, it confronts the dignity and lives of people with AIDS, and showcases the discrimination against AIDS in society. The inspiration came from the life story of Jeffrey Bowers, an attorney at Baker McKenzie in Philadelphia, who was wrongfully fired for his HIV diagnosis and fought for his rights, and also from Clarence Kane, an attorney at Hite Legal Services, who was wrongfully fired for his HIV diagnosis. Aaron tapped the table. Wasn't this screenplay idea the future of Philadelphia, a brilliant drama starring Tom Hanks? Last year, after sports star Irvin Johnson was revealed to have HIV, discussion about AIDS has been intense. Your story is excellent. Dawn will invest in it. Please get the script finished as soon as possible, assemble a crew, and start preparing. And Philadelphia? How could Aaron miss it? Jonathan Demme immediately stood up and shook Aaron's hand. Thank you for your support. Don't worry, we had a great time working together on The Silence of the Lambs. I won't interfere too much with the script. At the end of April, Jennifer Connelly returned to Los Angeles from Houston to attend a seminar for Speed. Director Jan de Bont, lead actor Keanu Reeves, and villain Dennis Hopper were all in attendance. Because the film features a lot of action and explosions, car crashes, plane crashes, subway explosions, and other high-octane scenes, the demands on the actors were high. The main actors needed a period of training to get used to it. At night, in a villa in the Bel Air community, Aaron lay on top of Jennifer Connelly. By the way, have you finished filming your scenes in Houston? Yes, it's finished. Next, we just need to wait for the crew to return to the Los Angeles studio to shoot some indoor scenes. Jennifer Connelly's body was covered with sweat, her chest heaving, and she kissed the man on the face. Aaron felt the girl's 30-60, with a look of satisfaction on his face. There are a lot of action scenes in this Speed, but the focus is mainly on the male lead Keanu Reeves. Your role is that typical American girl, just act down to earth? Yeah, I see. Jennifer Connelly reached out and scratched Aaron's hair. Are you thirsty? I'd like a drink. Aaron smiled and lay aside. Jennifer Connelly got up from the bed, casually put on her pajamas and went to pour the wine. Meanwhile, on April 29, 1992, the Los Angeles County District Court heard the Rodney King case, and the jury acquitted all 4 white officers. Just 2 hours after the news broke, massive anti-police protests organized by black people in South Los Angeles's black communities began. From Compton to South Central Los Angeles, the crowds grew larger and more radical. Black gang members began smashing up businesses, attacking white people, and hurling rocks and beer bottles at drivers. Even worse, demonstrators set fire to buildings on the streets of South Central Los Angeles. By evening, Los Angeles Mayor Tom Bradley declared a state of emergency, and the storm began to spread throughout South Central Los Angeles, spreading to nearby Koreatown and East Hollywood. All signs indicated that a wave of black protest had already begun. Chapter 148 You Will Kill. Bang, bang, bang. On the streets of Koreatown, a group of Korean residents, armed with their own weapons, exchanged shots with the looting black people. Burning buses, damaged buildings, and looted stores were all visible. At night, on the balcony of Bel Air Manor, Aaron gazed through binoculars at Koreatown and South Central Los Angeles. The flames continued to rise. The police have abandoned these areas and are heavily stationed in the wealthy neighborhoods. South Central Los Angeles and Koreatown have suffered the greatest losses, but here in Koreatown, these Korean immigrants are using force against the black people. There's a curfew from 7 p.m. to 6 a.m. Aaron was on the phone with Jack Wells, who was near East Hollywood and had a better understanding. How is it going over there? Are you safe? Aaron inquired. Don't worry, there aren't many black people here. There are large shopping malls here, and the security is sufficient. Stay in Beverly Hills for the next few days. Don't come out. Los Angeles is basically in chaos right now. Jack Wells was also observing the streets from his window with binoculars. The black people are venting their anger and seeking revenge. When black people were looting and smashing in South Central Los Angeles, they chanted revenge for Rodney King. When they arrived in Koreatown, the chants changed to revenge for Natasha Harlins, because Natasha Harlins had been shot and killed by the Korean woman who owned the supermarket while robbing it. After speaking with Aaron on the phone, Jack Wells saw a group of black people approaching from the street. They were confronted by a group of police and white residents. "Fuck," Jack Wells cursed, and he went downstairs, carrying his automatic rifle slung over his shoulder. He wanted to help. "Sheriff Billy, are these guys getting out of control?" Jack Wells wasn't alone. There were several Angel Security Company members with him. "Jack," the sheriff said nervously. Police cars blocked the road, guns drawn. Not far away, just across the street, black people were burning trash cans. Fortunately, they probably wouldn't dare come over here. The police kept shouting at the other side, telling them to leave and go home. Jack Wells looked across, disgust evident on his face. "They should be put down with force. Where are the National Guard and the Marines? These guys are lazy and only know how to stir up trouble. They're a cancer. I wonder how much Los Angeles has lost all day today." The main group of people involved in the riots were black people and Spanish-speaking Latinos. Billy patted Jack Wells on the shoulder and said soothingly, "It's coming soon. Tomorrow morning, the National Guard and Marines will be in town." Elsewhere, after Aaron spoke with Jack Wells, he spoke with women like Nicole Kidman and Sophie Marceau. Back in the living room, Jennifer Connelly was sitting on the sofa watching the news on TV. "Is Los Angeles going to fall?" "Fall, phew." Aaron leaned back on the sofa. "Don't worry, we're safe here. Not to mention the police surrounding the neighborhood. We rich people's bodyguards are completely unafraid of those black people. Besides, they had the advantage of weapons." People like Aaron's homes were well stocked with weapons and ammunition. The next day, tens of thousands of National Guardsmen and Marines entered Los Angeles, cooperating with the Los Angeles police to suppress the civil unrest. Although the military presence quickly quelled the unrest, the damage was significant, especially for the Korean community in Los Angeles. A few days later, the unrest was completely quelled, but 850 families in Los Angeles were left homeless, 58 people were killed, and over 2,300 were injured. Over 3,000 buildings were burned or destroyed, 3,000 businesses were affected, and an estimated 20,000 to 40,000 people were unemployed. Los Angeles economic losses were estimated to be $1 billion. On May 4th, Los Angeles curfew ended, public transportation resumed normal operations citywide, and Los Angeles International Airport also returned to normal. The White House office also announced that the federal government would provide $600 million to help repair Los Angeles, half in Small Business Administration loans and the other half in cash grants. "Bush, this is awful, running for re-election and having to deal with this." Aaron and Jack Wells sat in their office at the Angel Theater in West Hollywood, watching the news on TV. "Only that many people died," Jack Wells said in disbelief. "By the way, Aaron, I'm going to the Soviet Union next." "What Soviet Union?" "They call it Russia." Aaron took a sip of wine. "Over there are material shortages and economic shrinkage. Yeltsin carried out radical privatization, economic reforms and implemented shock therapy. There are unlimited opportunities." Jack Wells smiled awkwardly. "You know, I don't understand economics and finance. You asked me what the advantages and disadvantages of a certain type of gun are, and I can tell you. Okay, to put it simply, the Russian ruble will depreciate. If you can borrow a large amount of rubles from Russia to buy US dollars now, in the future, after the ruble depreciates, you can exchange a small amount of US dollars for an equivalent amount of rubles, and you will earn a lot of US dollars." Aaron put down his glass. "There should be quite a few American investors in Russia now, and those guys should be very professional. The United States is acquiring the wealth accumulated by the Soviet Union over the past few decades, and we can also make some money from it. Here, keep this business card. Leon Cooperman of hedge fund Omega Advisors. This is the fund he founded last year. This guy's currently focusing on the Russian financial market. I've invested $10 million in the Omega fund," Aaron said, handing Jack Wells a business card. "Okay, I'll go talk to him later." Jack Wells wasn't very interested. After all, he'd been put off by finance since Jordan Belfort's securities fraud. His current goal was to expand Angel Security and enter the arms market. Aaron shrugged. "When we get to Russia, if you need money, just call." Jack Wells nodded. After leaving West Hollywood, Jack Wells and Aaron Anderson made a special trip to Koreatown, the area hardest hit by the damage. "I used to live here, but it's a good thing I moved away." Aaron looked at the smoke-filled and rubbled streets of Koreatown, and a wave of emotion washed over him. Jack Wells smiled. "Don't worry, if you hadn't moved out, you'd probably go on a killing spree." Aaron pursed his lips. It was very likely. Aaron's principle has always been to seek revenge for anyone who dared to hurt him. A Molotov cocktail was thrown at the door of one of our theaters. "Do you want to go see what's going on?" Aaron was stunned. "Where?" "Hollywood, over the past 2 days." Although the heaviest damage was in south-central Los Angeles and Koreatown, other places also suffered losses: Hollywood, West Hollywood, Culver City, Midtown Wilshire, the southern blocks of Beverly Hills, and so on, all had rioting crowds. Let's go and take a look. It seems we have suffered losses too. Chapter 149, A Mixed Bag. The unrest in Los Angeles has sparked significant debate both domestically and internationally, a battle between the American judicial system and racism. In the Dawn film screening room, a rough cut of Schindler's List was playing. Aaron rested his chin on the black and white screen, musing that once the film was released, the Best Picture Oscar at next March's Academy Awards would be virtually certain to be a sure thing. "Is Spielberg still in Hawaii?" Aaron suddenly asked. Brad Gray, standing nearby, nodded and replied, "Yes, filming on Jurassic Park won't be that fast. Universal has scheduled a release date for next summer, so Spielberg will be quite busy." Schindler's List was set to be released at the end of the year anyway, and this kind of art film would undoubtedly capitalize on the prestige of awards season. However, with the Jewish media's influence, newspapers and television would undoubtedly advertise the film. In the afternoon, in Aaron's office, a novel titled Interview with a Vampire lay on the table. It was the first published novel in the Vampire Chronicles series by Anne Rice, an American author of Gothic, Christian, and erotica. After its publication in the 1970s, Paramount purchased the filming rights for 10 years, but Paramount never developed it. Then, the filming rights were transferred to Lorimar Pictures for a 5-year deal, which expired at the end of last year. "So, I think we at Dawn can film this novel. After all, we just participated in the production and filming of director Francis Ford Coppola's Dracula's Dracula, and we already have some experience with this type of subject matter." Dawn Steele was suggesting to Aaron that they acquire the adaptation rights to Anne Rice's novel Interview with a Vampire for development. Aaron glanced at the novel on the table and smiled. "Okay, let's go talk. I'm quite optimistic about this novel, too." After Dawn Steele left, Aaron picked up the novel and began reading. In Malibu, a BMW Z1 convertible cruised along Highway 1 along the Pacific coast. "Aaron, are you asking me to go to England to film a romantic comedy?" Sophie Marceau, freshly arrived in Los Angeles from the set of 4 Weddings and a Funeral, was handed the script for 4 Weddings and a Funeral. Aaron smiled and stroked the woman's thigh. "Yes, it's an interesting script. It's going to be amazing. It's different from a thriller like 4 Weddings." Sophie Marceau nodded. "Well, this script is full of comedy. It shouldn't be difficult to film. Romantic comedies are inherently the simplest genre." Sophie Marceau had also filmed many French rom-coms in her early years. Soon, the car pulled up to a beachfront villa in Point Dume Estates, Malibu, a vacation home Aaron had previously purchased. "You really know how to enjoy life." Sophie Marceau held Aaron Anderson on the balcony, enjoying the warm breeze of the Pacific, the blue sky, the white clouds, and the waves. "Isn't money meant for enjoyment?" Aaron kissed the woman, feeling the beauty in his arms, and asked with a smile, "How is it? Is filming a Hollywood movie a different experience?" "Yes, it is. Director Tony Scott has a bad temper, and the crew was a bit timid. The time between sets isn't long. In Europe, they're not so rushed. Compared to the French's leisurely pace, the Hollywood way is far more commercialized." At night, in the bathroom, Aaron Anderson and Sophie Marceau enjoyed a fragrant double bath. "Are you going to Cannes? They've invited me to the closing ceremony, so I need to get ready. I'll be leaving after the weekend." Under the shower, Sophie Marceau leaned in a man's arms, feeling the warm water. "I don't think there's anything good. Besides, Indecent Proposal opens next Friday, and Xu Guang has a lot of projects coming up right now. Ordinary movies don't interest me." Xu Guang has invested in foreign films like Speed, Philadelphia, The Mask of Zorro, 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and The Piano. Plus, Aaron approved Dawn Steele to develop Interview with a Vampire, and Xu Guang holds the adaptation rights to Forrest Gump. So, there's a lot of projects on the horizon. Sophie Marceau smiled, turned around, and kissed Aaron on the mouth. In Cannes right now, news about Basic Instinct is everywhere. Director Paul Verhoeven's film has sparked huge controversy, and the media is arguing furiously. After its international premiere in Cannes, Basic Instinct sparked widespread discussion. Now, Basic Instinct has already surpassed $80 million at the North American box office, and breaking the $100 million mark is a sure thing. Four Weddings and a Funeral is expected to start filming in London in 2 months. Are you going directly from France to England? After Sophie Marceau went to Cannes, she would definitely return to Paris for a while. It depends. If necessary, I'll go back to the States, Sophie Marceau said, rubbing her fingers over Aaron's chest, smiling as she felt his page and abdominal muscles. What a great body. No wonder you're so attractive to women. Then, she couldn't help but kiss the man on the chest. Well, it's nothing. I'll be in London by then anyway. A moment later, Sophie Marceau squatted down. With the arrival of mid-May, Dawn Pictures' Indecent Proposal began its theatrical release, along with Warner Bros. Sequel, Lethal Weapon 3, which opened on the same day. Lethal Weapon 3 opened to great fanfare in 2,510 theaters across North America, grossing $33 million over its 3-day opening weekend, while Indecent Proposal opened in 1,720 theaters across North America, taking in $19 million over its 3-day opening weekend. Both Lethal Weapon 3 and Indecent Proposal were highly anticipated, setting a strong start for the summer box office. However, while Indecent Proposal generated considerable buzz, its reputation was mixed. The Chicago Sun-Times, this Indecent Proposal cleverly uses romantic scenes to cover up its essentially vulgar themes. The Hollywood Reporter, despite the film's ridiculous premise and poor script, the director still created the kind of sexy pop fable he is good at. In addition to these positive reviews, like Variety, the New York Times gave it a bad review. The most annoying thing about the movie is that it loses its nastiness and vulgarity. Indecent Proposal starts out weird and then turns into a dull, and shockingly mediocre, family soap opera. I wish you all a happy New Year's Day, a new year with new prospects, and make a fortune every day. Chapter 150 Fame is greater than strength. The following weekend, Lethal Weapon 3 continued to dominate the weekly box office, earning $27 million and bringing its 10-day total to $70 million. Indecent Proposal earned $15 million the following weekend, bringing its 10-day total to $47.5 million. However, while Indecent Proposal couldn't compare to Warner Bros.' Lethal Weapon 3, after all, it cost $35 million to produce and was an action film, while Indecent Proposal was only a $25 million drama. Meanwhile, Universal's Western blockbuster Far From Home, starring Tom Cruise, opened in 1,590 theaters across North America last weekend, only grossing $10.2 million over the 3 days. This $60 million blockbuster even underperformed Paramount's previous Tom Cruise blockbuster, Days of Thunder, released concurrently with Far From Home with 20th Century Fox's sequel, Alien 3, which opened in 2,227 theaters across North America and grossed $19.5 million over its first 3 days. However, the film's critical acclaim was woefully poor, with almost universally negative reviews. Action movies are truly amazing, Aaron said, leaning back in his chair in the Dawn Films office, his expression somewhat languid. Next up were Warner Bros.' Batman Returns and Midnight Dawn, and Paramount's Patriot Games, all slated for summer releases. Boss, the distribution department reported that the test screenings for Sleepless in Seattle were very positive. We and Sony are both confident, Assistant Esther Beckett said, handing Aaron a research report. Aaron nodded. The Cannes Film Festival had already concluded, and the Sleepless in Seattle crew was actively promoting the film in the media. Nicole Kidman had gone to Cannes specifically to promote the film. After all, Dawn was the producer and responsible for North American distribution, while Columbia TriStar was the international distributor. Does Tom Hanks have another comedy that will be released in the summer? Yes, it's the comedy sports film A League of Their Own directed by Penny Marshall, starring Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna Ciccone and others. The distributor is Sony, and it will be released on Independence Day. Aaron knocked on the table. How about Quentin Tarantino's Reservoir Dogs? Well, it took in less than $3 million at the box office. It has a good reputation in the independent film circle, and it is very highly rated in the British film circle. Reservoir Dogs and Raise the Red Lantern both took in less than $3 million at the box office, and their commercial value is basically non-existent. It is mainly to enrich Xu Guang's film library, and art films are the embodiment of film style. However, Reservoir Dogs has garnered quite a few celebrity fans, giving Quentin Tarantino a number of big-name fans. Aaron stood up. Let's wait and see how his next film performs. Speaking of which, Aaron was still keeping an eye on director David Fincher. The failure of Alien 3 was a real blow to his confidence. However, David Fincher is still continuing his career in music videos and commercials. That evening, at the Chateau Marmont in West Hollywood, the crew of Dawn Investments' The Pain of Reality held a wrap party. Aaron was somewhat surprised that Ben Stiller had finished a film in less than 2 months. Director Ben Stiller, along with the main cast members Winona Ryder, Ethan Hawke, Adam Sandler, and Jennifer Connelly, were in attendance. Towards the end of the party, Aaron showed up. Winona Ryder was the producer and the film's main attraction. She even introduced Ethan Hawke to the cast. So, she specifically asked Aaron for his opinion of the film. "Jennifer, do you mind if I borrow Aaron for a few minutes?" Winona Ryder came up to the two of them and joked with a smile. "Oh, of course." Jennifer Connelly kissed Aaron beside her. "Honey, I'm going to the bathroom." Aaron nodded, looked at Winona Ryder, and the two went to the balcony. "Your current short hairstyle is pretty good." "Well, do you think it looks good?" "It looks good, but it's a little short," Aaron said, reaching out and touching the other's hair. "You are really beautiful, and any hairstyle suits you." "Okay, are you not satisfied with having a sexy Jennifer Connelly?" Winona Ryder rubbed her face. "This is my first time as a film producer. Fortunately, the filming process went smoothly. Otherwise, your $12 million would be wasted." Aaron smiled. "Then you have to compensate with yourself." After making a joke, Aaron leaned against the wall, took out a pack of cigarettes, and they each lighted one. "The movie is not bad, very literary and artistic. The box office should not be very high, but the reputation should be good. Shugwang should also make some money. According to my guess, The Pain of Reality is a successful work." "Huh? That's good." Winona Ryder exhaled a puff of cigarette. "I also took on Martin Scorsese's new film The Age of Innocence, working with Daniel Day-Lewis and Michelle Pfeiffer. This year is really busy. It's adapted from the novel of the same name by Edith Wharton, an American female writer in the last century." "Right." Aaron shrugged. "CAA recommended this project to Martin Scorsese, but I'm not interested." Winona Ryder smiled. "Are you not optimistic about this movie?" "Almost. Director Martin Scorsese is not suitable for me to work with. I don't like his style. It's not very commercial." "Well, Aaron thinks that Martin Scorsese is an actor whose fame is greater than his ability. He's experienced and his style is not changeable enough." "No wonder." Winona Ryder immediately discarded her cigarette. "But I'm still looking forward to working with Daniel Day-Lewis. He's a great actor, a true epitome of experiential acting." There are 3 schools of acting: expressionism, method, and experiential. Experiential acting involves the most intense immersion in the role, a level of madness that can't be achieved without immersion. Aaron shook his head. "Don't try to imitate that style of acting. It's easy to get too deeply into the role. I don't want to see you crying on the side of the road like last time." "I know." Winona Ryder ran her hands through her hair. "Depp and I broke up." Well?" Aaron twitched his lips and patted her shoulder. "You're still young. It's okay to focus on your career first. I've been having insomnia lately. I have to take sleeping pills to fall asleep." Winona Ryder hugged the man and kissed him. Aaron responded with a deep kiss before reminding her, "How about going out to see with me this weekend?" "Okay." End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.